Everyone, it's Santana, and you are watching the DL Show on Dave's Guitar Channel.
All right, everybody, welcome. It is Sunday, December 5th, and this is the DL Show. Today, we have a great guest for everybody. We have Scott Kaye from BMF Effects, and we're going to bring him on in just a second. But before we get started, I have been fighting a cold all week. Apparently, I caught it from Joe on last show. I guess we probably should have all been wearing masks last episode, guys, but Joe in Florida somehow was able to transmit his virus all the way through his computer to me.
Yeah, that shit was bad.
I think it was a possession. I think
it could have been. It could have been.
Yeah.
I heard from Anne-Marie after the show, like a day or two later. She loved it, loved meeting you guys. And she was telling me she might be in this area in January. Mm-hmm. So she might be able to come out to a show in January, which would be really cool.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did she film an intro for us the way Santana did?
Not yet, but she will.
Oh, that'd be great. I was literally, before the show started, I was in the kitchen. I did the old put Mikey to bed. Then I was like, let me have the last of my dinner because, you know, tomorrow I'm back to the fasting. And as I'm eating, I'm thinking of the show last week. And I was like, man, I got to apologize for my shitty performance. But the minute she was in the green room, I got starstruck. When I saw her in the little square, she's as beautiful. I was like, as beautiful she was in Prince of Darkness. So, and also anybody, my last two performances were literally bookended by, hey, you've got the hell virus, the start of it and the end of, hey, you got the hell virus and have to go back to work the next day. But I feel great tonight.
Awesome. That is great. Krelba, how was your week?
Okay. Got a few things done. Sold a few guitars.
Oh no.
It's always good.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing.
Good.
I'm trying to trim it down because everyone knows I was up to like 38 last year.
Oh, well, that's holy shit. Okay.
Now I'm down to 26.
Now, is this a mixture of electric and acoustic?
No, just electrics I'm getting rid of.
Okay.
The only two acoustics I have, you're looking at them.
Okay.
Back there. Classical. Nice. And so Dave was sick today. I was toying with the idea of going grabbing a pizza and having a smoke. Dave caught up with me, and so we didn't do it today.
Well, I went and got a pizza at this local place that's a buddy of mine went to yesterday and recommended. And I'm glad I went by myself because it wasn't great. It wasn't as good as the Town Spa. Now, the Town Spa is my favorite type of South Shore bar pizza. And when the Town Spa it is inconsistent. Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's fantastic. And it takes balls when someone's like, it wasn't fantastic today. Yeah, but it's still better than everything else. This place today was okay, but I did have a piece of cheesecake, Krell, and it was good. Oof. It was good.
It's good.
But I needed it because, like, I've been sick. I was sick as a dog. I had a gig on Friday night, and I was wearing two sweatshirts, a wool cap. I went home. I was in completely soaked clothes, just sweating this thing out. And then Saturday, I felt great. Did my acoustic gig, was fantastic. Today, you can hear a little bit of my sinuses, but I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good. Jerry Gorman, Gorham. I say Gorman. I knew a Gorman. Jerry Gorham in the chat came out last night to my gig. It's good to see Jerry. And anyways, so years ago, I used to work in the South Bay. Actually, I think you call San Pedro still South Bay, even though it's probably the very bottom of it. I managed a store, and I met Scott Kaye, who was BMF Effects. He's a great guy, and he makes great pedals. And I thought, why not have him on tonight? And we're going to have it's going to be the pedal show. And also, I will say Scott has a very eclectic taste in music, and that's always good for me to be around people like that, because YouTube bozos, all you listen to is metal, and that's it.
No, that's not true.
I'm joking.
I know.
What's wrong with you? I'm joking with you. What's wrong? You're digging the hole. All right, very good. All right, everybody, here is Scott Kaye. Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
Scott.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Been a long time.
Been a long time. Great to see you as always. Great to see you. So, for those people who don't know who you are, you manufacture, you hand make BMF Effects.
Yes, sir.
In what we call the South Bay area of Los Angeles.
And I would consider Pedro to be South Bay.
It is still considered. Okay, because I'm not 100% sure, but used to be a great breakfast place. What's that main street? Gara? What is that? Gaffey Street. The Gaffey Street Diner. God, I used to eat breakfast there every day. It was great. Couldn't remember the name of the road, but I could tell you the food there. Hey,
here's what I don't understand. You literally take every guest back to diners and restaurants. I'm the fat one.
Well,
what are you doing?
When I worked at West LA, the vendors would call you and say, hey, because I would do the ordering. So they'd be like, hey, Dave, listen, we're going to come up around noontime. Can you do lunch? And where do you want to go? And I'd be like, well, let's get sushi. So we go to sushi. But the same day, I'd have someone call me up and say, can we do 12? And I'm like, no, I'm doing sushi. How about 3? Well, 3 o'clock is 3 hours later, and I can eat another meal. So let's get.
You'd be doing meals like the Hobbits. You'd be having breakfast, second breakfast, onesies.
At that time, just like now, I worked out every day, and I was eating 5 meals a day. So anytime I could get a meal, and especially when one of the vendors is picking it up, I was like, all right, let's go. But Scott makes, now the first pedal that I tried, I'd never heard of your pedals. I worked at Alva's and I plugged in the Liquid Sky. Somebody asked me, what is this Liquid Sky? It must have been like my first or second day there. They're like, how is the Liquid Sky? I'm like, how is it? We're going to find out right now. Plugged it in and I was like, it's sensational is how it is. It was great. Now this was back when he made it as the wide pedal, almost the same body as the Godfather 2 pedal you make.
Yeah, it was in the same size box as like an MXR Phase 100.
Right. Exactly.
So it's going back, it's from those were the big box models, and at the beginning of the line there was big box and small box. So yeah, there was a bunch of stuff that was in the bigger boxes.
Nice. Now, how did this whole thing start for you?
I'm great at taking things apart. Absolutely fantastic at it. My father, on the other hand, is great at putting things back together. My father's into electronics. My father plays guitar. He's the reason I picked up guitar. And he got tired of fixing stuff. I would break stuff or take it apart and not be able to put it back together. And he kind of got tired of it. And he said, I'm going to show you how to do this. Yeah. So he said, a schematic's like a road map. There's a start point, and there's an ending point, and have at it. And that's nice. Really how it took off.
So let me ask two questions. Okay.
Hold on one second. But first of all, do you have a cell phone near your microphone or something? Because I am hearing like a cell phone interference.
I do not. No, I do, but it's on airplane mode.
Is there any way you can move it like just a foot away from the computer?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Yeah, something's unshielded. And he also froze like Iceman.
Yeah, but that might be contributing to it.
Okay, move the phone away. That any better?
Yes, now it's gone.
Okay, wow, this thing's really sensitive.
Yeah, well, it picks up like a flutter thing. Okay, so now you started making pedals. Like someone asked you, like, what was the first pedal you made?
The Fat Bastard.
I just met you. Be nice, please. I just met you. Just met the guy already. My entire life, everyone in the chat. This has been my entire life. Did you call the pedal? Now, from now on, you got to call the pedal the Joe.
Right.
No, Joe. No,
we've renamed the Fat Bastard the Joe.
Yeah, the first pedal was the Rubenesque Boost. We won't call it the Fat Bastard tonight. But yeah, it was the first pedal, like first production pedal. I mean, first pedal I ever built was a kit pedal. I had gotten a kit from.
Right. And what's the Fat Bastard based on?
It was based on was based on the EH LPV1, which was the first pedal I ever owned. And at the time, I want to say EH hadn't reissued it at that point.
Right.
So your only way to get it was in that little plug-in module.
Yeah. I actually think a lot of pedal companies started off because Electro Harmonics took a dump for a while. And people were trying to fill.
You started seeing a bunch of their stuff kind of pop up from the smaller guys. Yeah. First pedal was probably a Tube Screamer kit, and then the first production pedal was the Fat Bastard. Took it to remember Black Market Music. That's going back a ways.
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever been there.
Over on, it used to be on La Cienega. I mean, this is going back.
Yeah, I think it's before my time.
Way back. Showed up, and Todd Youth used to work there, a guitar player for Danzig and Motorhead and a couple other bands. And he tried it out, and he said, "I'll take it." And this was in a plain black box. And then I think we both know Paul Ulino. Used to work over at Westwood, works over at Truetown now. Brought one to him, and he said, "Okay, we'll give it a shot." And got a phone call the next day from him, and he said, "Hey, it's sold. We need another one." I said, "Okay." Knocked out another one, brought it to him, and 2 days later he said, "Hey, that one's sold. We need 2 more," and it kind of just snowballed from there.
Right. Okay.
So at that point, there was a panic to add product to the line.
And were you calling them by different names at that point? Were you having? Did you have a company name then?
It was BMF Effects back then. And it was that all kind of came about. I was living down at the beach and had some friends next door, and I'm sure one night over a lot of margaritas, while I was trying to figure out what to call the company. I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, and had the BMF wallet from Pulp Fiction for the longest time. And that got stuck. That stuck as a nickname, and one of the friends said, "Why don't you call them BMF pedals?"
Yeah.
And out of that came BMF Effects. And by the time that we had all sobered up and realized that this may not be the best marketing strategy, pedals were out in the open. It was kind of too late to change the name.
Right. So, well, it's funny. When I hear that name, I always think of that Cheech and Chong bit, "Let's Make a Dope Deal" with Bob Bitchin.
Yeah,
he's got a BA, a PhD, and he's a BMF besides. Bob Bitchin.
But and it's I'll be the first person to admit that I do things ass backwards. I come up with the graphics, the font, what I'm going to call it, what color it's going to be, and then I decide what I'm going to stuff into it.
Nice. That works.
There's an ongoing list of names, and I have an idea of what I want it to look like, and then we go, okay, well, what are we going to put in this? What is this going to do?
Sure.
And that's how the line grew. There was a list of names. We said, okay. Going back to the Liquid Sky, I actually held a contest on a forum and said, "Go ahead, name this pedal. It's a chorus. I choose your name. You get a free pedal." So that one, somebody actually shouted out and people voted on it, and that's how we got there.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good pedal. I like that pedal.
Thank you.
Nice analog.
Yeah, for an effect pedal most people seem to hate, that one moves pretty well. You know,
Why
Everybody,
hate
people, well, because people always say they hate chorus.
Yeah, you know, because it got overused in the '80s, but you know, everybody's quick to slam chorus, but somebody's clearly buying them.
Right.
I had a chorus pedal. You have to have a chorus pedal.
It's one of my favorite pedals. It's one of my favorite effects. I think if used correctly, I think there's a lot that can be done with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
a great
perfect example. What you just said is there's a time and a place for everything, and using something in the inappropriate place is like, you know, not going to be a good thing. It's like getting jagged in the ass by a knife.
Clean in chorus is gorgeous.
Yes.
You know, it's like
yes.
Anything to give that fattening sound. It's
But then when you start stacking distortion on top of chorus on top of a phaser, we might be heading back to the 80s a little too fast.
I don't know. I think phaser. When I think of phase, I think of 70s.
That actually was going to be one of my questions, what your favorite effect was. So I think you just answered that. Chorus. Well, what's your least favorite effect?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a least favorite or if it's more just ones that I don't know that I get. Like I don't get a ring modulator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we hope not.
But you know, I'm also not Jeff Beck, who happens to have one on his board. There's some of the stuff that falls into the noisemaker category.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's not that I don't like them. It's just it's not a sound that I'm looking for. And there's some great companies out there making pedals that fall into that category. I think this is without a doubt, you know, one of the best times to be alive as a guitar player, just for the sheer amount of volume of
pedals out there. Yeah, I mean, there's companies like Chase Bliss that puts out the most. Like, I'm like, who's asking for that sound?
Yeah.
Right.
Amazon actually put out.
Here's your guitar. What is that?
Amazon actually put out basics, rebranded foreign stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So, go get a pedal on Amazon for $16 or whatever they were selling it for.
No, but Chase Bliss was making some weird, like, here's what it sounds like if your guitar was going through a 1930s record player. What?
And you know, and I think it's great that they carved out in a
somebody wants it.
Yeah, in a market that's, let's be honest, flooded at this point.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic that somebody was able to carve out a niche for themselves and create a demand for pedals like that. That's absolutely, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Now, like pedals like your El Jefe, what is that based on a pedal, or is that your own design? What is that?
Loosely based on the old Bluesbreaker pedal.
Oh, it's a Bluesbreaker style. Okay.
So a couple.
That's a good pedal.
Couple different, you know, adjustments to it. That one started off trying to capture Mike Campbell's tone from the early Heartbreaker stuff.
Nice.
It was. I think I had seen that Tom Petty documentary, the really Running on a Dream. I think it was the
4-hour one.
Yep, and seeing early footage of the Heartbreakers and just hearing Campbell's tone and going, okay, let's go get as close to this as I possibly can. And it's just it's a lot of messing around. It's a lot of trying things out, swapping parts out. I don't have a degree in electrical engineering. Everything I do is by ear. It's all trial and error.
Yeah, well, it works. I mean, your pedals seem to be doing well. I mean, your company's grown.
I've always, everything that I've done has been a result of something that I wanted to hear. It wasn't something that was readily available. It wasn't somebody else wasn't making it. Had they been making it, I would have bought it. I have no problem buying pedals from other manufacturers. But the genesis of everything is things that I want to hear, tones that I want to hear that I'm not hearing. And I've always said, you know, we're coming up 2022 will be 17 years doing this. I'm very fortunate that people seem to want to hear what I do.
Yeah.
There
Yeah, it's great.
guys out there who go, okay, yeah, this is the sound I've been looking for. So
Now, around 2012, I think it was. No, it might have been later. 14, maybe. I reached out to you because Del Casher wanted to meet someone to talk about a wah. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Was that
and it was actually it was earlier than 14 for sure.
It was 13,
Nope.
maybe.
13 because the BMF WA didn't hit till 2013, and I had spoken to Del at least a year, if not two, before that.
Oh, okay. So it is a lot earlier than I thought.
Yeah, we're going a little ways back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he was always a joy. Now, Del, for people that don't know, was one of the guys behind the original wah. And Del was looking for somebody to make a wah, but always complained that the wah pedal that's in production never sounds quite like the wah that he played, or that he was the prototype wah, I think it was, that he had in Beverly Hills at his house. And
Yeah.
And so he tried your wah. How did that work out?
Very well. So well that I never got it back.
Del.
Damn.
Yeah,
I was still touring with it.
Yeah, as far as I know, he still has it. Yeah, he. Thank you for hooking me up with him, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, no worries. Yeah.
We went back and forth and handed it off to him, and I think a day later he's like, "This is it. This is what I've been looking for." And I know that at that time, if I remember correctly, at that time he was either under contract or under negotiation with somebody else to make the Del Casher signature wah, and then something went sideways.
Right. I do remember that.
I remember seeing one for sale on eBay, and I want to say that we went through an email conversation. He was like, "Yeah, that's not even supposed to be out there. I never gave final sign off. This is not okay, and I don't know what happened to it. But apparently, there's at least one Del Casher signature wah out there."
Oh, that's funny.
And I think we had talked about. Yeah, this is going back a ways, but I think we had talked about doing some sort of wah that was tied to the name, and it just never materialized. And the project got shelved until 2013 when I showed up with the second prototype for Mark Ford.
Nice. Now, Mark Ford played with the Black Crows?
Yep.
Crows, Burning Tree,
Okay.
Magpie Salute, a whole bunch of people.
Now, is he a South Bay guy?
He was actually, I think he was born and raised in Fullerton.
Oh, okay.
And I know he's a little bit further down south now.
Got it. Okay. I know the guys in Ambrosia were all South Bay guys.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I seen them. What was the name of that club that was right before Palos Verdes at the bottom of the hill there, like right on, was it Sepulveda, the main road? What is that?
PCH? You thinking of St. Rock?
Was it something before St. Rock? Maybe it was St. Rock.
I'm almost positive it was another bar or club before St. Rock. It had gone through.
Before it was St. Rock. Yeah, I saw Ambrosia there. Yeah. And Joe Puerta used to come into Alva's, and I used to work out of a studio in Torrance, and I know David Pack used to pop in and out of there as well. He was in that area. But they were
LA's a great place to be to kind of just run into people randomly.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I've run into Reeves Gabriel. I've run into Sophie B. Hawkins.
Yeah, Sophie's a Venice girl. She lives in Venice. Well, she used to live in Venice. I don't know if she's still there.
Ran into Peter Weller.
Oh, really? RoboCop?
Ran into RoboCop at Guitar Center. Yeah.
It's Murphy.
No, actually, I walked up to Mr. Buckaroo Banzai as one of my favorites.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. He's the guitar player.
Yeah. I kind of sidled up to him and said, "Blue Blazer or regular?" And he smiled and said, "Thank you very much." So
that's funny. Yeah, Rutger Hauer used to live in Venice, and he used to go to this vitamin shop. I walked up behind him once, and I was like, "I've seen Viking ships on the."
Well, he must have heard that a lot.
I'll tell you, the funniest thing was I was at a poker game at the Hollywood Park Casino, and I'm sitting there, and my buddy comes up next to me, and he's like, "Do you know that's Joe Don Baker sitting across from you?" I go, "Where?" He goes, "That guy." He was very old. I'm like, "Oh my God, it is." It took me a minute to realize it. So then I'm staring at the guy, just waiting for him to look up at me. Finally, he looks up at me, and I said, Fat Sam left the beach today. So did Gummy. That's when it occurred to me there's something happening around here that I should become aware of. And he just looks at me and goes, "Is that from Fletch?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I never thought that was funny." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Crash and burn.
I'm like, "But you liked Mitchell." He goes, "I did like Mitchell."
MST DK Mitchell.
Exactly. So
that is one of the best episodes. MST DK Mitchell.
With John Saxon. It was the only reason why I knew the damn movie was for Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, man.
He's like, "They flew me out to Fiji for 3 weeks and paid me a ton of money. I love that movie." Meanwhile, I think the movie, they claim it's like all in LA, but I guess the whole thing was shot in Fiji.
Every 3 minutes, they're just going, "Mitchell, Mitchell." And every time they do that, I just died.
And they sing the theme at the end.
Oh, it's great.
Mitchell.
But John Saxon as a bad guy is always my favorite.
Yeah.
I love
is
John
it cool
Saxon.
to answer questions from the chat?
Oh, absolutely. If you, here we go. Johnny Kramer is saying, "Scott, is there a difference in the old Liquid Sky and the new one? I see it looks like you got rid of a knob."
No difference. It's always been a 3-knob pedal. The only difference is the size of the box. It's in a smaller box now. But
Nice.
yeah, if he's looks like he's looking at a used one. So yeah, there's no difference. The circuit hasn't changed since it came out.
Yeah, it's a great. And was that based on something? I'm trying to remember it's a nice analog chorus. I mean, really nice, lush.
Yeah, based on the small clone.
The small, right?
Yeah,
But
a couple of adjustments here and there, and
yeah. The adjustment would be it doesn't have the noise that the small clone had. No comment. No comments from you necessary, but the small clone, the Stone, I always loved the effect those pedals had, but they also bring a lot of noise.
Yeah.
For me, anyways. I always, it's like...
We've also gotten more sensitive about the noise over the years, I think.
Well, I remember when I bought a deluxe, the Electric Mistress, those big things.
Yep.
And here I am thinking like, I'm going to dial it back and get that police sound, use it as a chorus, even though it's a flanger, like to get that sound. The thing took up so much real estate. I'm like, are you kidding me? Somebody's got to clone this thing better. But yeah, not a Mistress fan. However, all right. So now you have your website, the BMF Effects, and are you in a lot of this? Like, do you have a national accounts or do you deal with like all over the country? Are you the guy?
I have a couple. I have some great dealers. It's a small network. Mm-hmm. Always looking for new places, always looking to try to build. A lot of, we saw, going a couple years back when you started seeing Guitar Center just really swallowing up mom and pop shops. Mm. And you saw a lot of them dropping out, and then some of them shifted to online. Some of them just called it quits. And what I think is great now is you're actually seeing kind of a resurgence in the brick and mortar store.
Totally.
These smaller stores are definitely coming back, and I think that's fantastic. But it took a bit of a hit when GC was buying up everybody. Yeah, it took a bit of a hit. When Westwood Music closed down.
Yeah. So what happened was in Westwood. Not Westwood. In on the west side there of West LA, you had Guitar Center opened on Pico, something like around, I think 2008, maybe 2007, somewhere around there. And the problem was a lot of those stores didn't figure out you can't compete with them.
Right.
You have to figure out what, so to go to a guy like you and buy pedals up and get like all these different boutique things would make a store really survive. But, back in the day when I was, working with Don, they wanted, we got to carry Boss. We got to deal with Roland. I'm like, but that's what those guys do. And they're better than you at it. They're always going to be better. They have way more buying power. You have to circumvent that whole thing. And just the point is, the one shop that did that was True Tone. And
right,
they're still standing.
Yes. Great shop. But I mean, if you think about it, how long have you been out of LA now?
7 years.
Okay, so I'm sure you remember how Sunset used to be.
Oh yeah.
All gone.
Is a lot of those stuff gone?
All gone. The only thing left is Sam Ash and Guitar Center.
What about Mesa's gone, right?
Mesa's gone.
Wow.
I think Future Music was gone for a while, but reopened up. I think up in Burbank, maybe. But I mean, remember, I'm sure you did the same thing. I would get up on a Saturday morning, drive up to Sunset, grab breakfast at the Sunset Cafe, and spend 2 hours walking in and out of those stores.
Oh, I like the Griddle.
Did you
ever go to the Griddle?
No,
the Griddle's on Sunset by Fairfax.
Okay.
They have. Oh my God! I'll tell you right. No, you got to go up there. I'm telling you, it's the best pancakes in LA. It's. You can go on YouTube and look up the Griddle. It is, and in fact, there's a funny story. Wasn't it like Paul Stanley and Dee Schneider? Weren't they going at it at one point in the press? They were saying bad things about each other, and I guess they ran into each other outside in line at the Griddle, and they were just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And there was a big thing of like, "Oh yeah," all the tensions flew. Like they said hi, and that was it, and walked away from each other. But the Griddle's fantastic. But yeah, there was a ton of stores.
Yeah.
And I think it was it Mesa store that was the big ESP dealer back in the 90s?
I believe so.
Oh man, that was a great store.
Yeah, and they closed recently. I would say within the last year and a half.
Yeah, I think John was the guy that worked there. He, I think, works either with Bingham now or worked with him somewhere else. But they were great. So I bought a Mesa dual rectifier probably around. I bought several of them, but the last one, this one here, I bought at the Hollywood store in 2002 or 1. It's either the end of 2001 or the beginning of 2002. And for years, I used the effects loop, and I would get a phasing sound. I couldn't deal with it. I'm like, it sounds like anytime I turn my delay on, I got phase going on. I didn't need any phasers. It would come in naturally. I called them 100 times. They were like, it's not us. You got to call line 6 because you're using one of their delays, the DL4. I call line 6. They're like, put it in the face of the amp, see if it does it. It doesn't. They go, we know it's them. So the two of them are pointing back and forth. Finally, I'm running Alva's music. I bring in, what was his name? Rich Longacre, is that his name from Mesa? I forget his last name. Rich comes in. We become a dealer. He's like, the Mesa dual rectifier version 3s are out. I said, what's the difference? Now it's multi-watt. You can change the watt on any channel. And the effects loop is series now and not parallel. I said, really? Why is that? He goes, well, because it caused phasing. I'm like, I made him at the Hollywood store change mine to series. I'm like, you guys got to change it, and you're not charging me. They're like, we got to charge you $35. Will that be okay? I'm like, I'll pay $35. That's it. Hilarious. It was killing me. They were killing me with that. The phasing. All right. So do you make a delay at the moment? I don't think you do, right? You don't make a delay.
Not at the moment. Did for a while.
Oh, you did. Okay.
A couple of years back, I had the Deco box. Which the guys who think I looked it up one time because somebody asked me, and there's probably less than 50 out there. The guys who have them are not quick to give them up. They don't turn up used very often. I actually had to go buy one off eBay because I didn't have one for my own collection.
Wow.
It's something.
Your own pedal you didn't have?
No, it's been a running joke since I've started. I don't have a pedal board.
It's a shoemaker without shoes.
Exactly. I've been running around barefoot for 16 years. I only started keeping or holding on to one of each of what I make within the last year and a half. So now anytime anything limited comes out, something new comes out, I always put one aside for myself. But no pedal board here. There is a pedal board. It's in the box in a closet somewhere. Most of the time that I play, or the chance when I get to play, is just testing stuff out before I push it out the door.
Hey, Crowbar, I hate to tell you, but your cat's barking like a dog.
It's barking like a dog.
Someone's got
nobody
dogs.
Hears the dog barking.
My mic was off.
No.
Oh, Scott, that's your neighbors?
Yeah, and the windows were closed, so you can imagine what it's like.
Oh, that's
My
that's
cat's
gonna be
scratching
awful.
against the door, though. That's why I had the mic off.
I know these two guys, Kramer and Newman, that'll come in the middle of the night and relocate them for you.
Oh my God!
Do you remember that episode of Seinfeld?
Oh yeah.
It took you so long. I love when they go to Newman's house. It took you so long.
Newman.
But yeah, I suspect we'll revisit the delay at some point.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I've got to be happy with it. It's got to do. When I discontinued mine, it was right about the same time that everybody started offering one. You kind of had that period where everybody was doing the PT 2399 based delays.
You got into making fuzzes for a while too, like you were. Yeah, no, but I'm saying that like when you were adding fuzzes, it was like fuzz. You had the Germanian one, and then the.
It's once I kind of figured out just how cool they are, really.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to is once I kind of latched on to going, oh, okay, so this is what everybody's talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And, Mark Ford is a big fuzz guy. So working with him, there was always, hey, you got any new fuzz?
Right.
Because Mark will take any fuzz you got, Mark will take.
Well, yeah, it's funny because there's a couple of ways people use fuzz. And when you start to use it like to boost a heavy driven amp, you can get like that really cool sludge metal sound with them.
I got a tone the other night that's still tickling my prostate. I put together. Now listen, my shit's all virtual. Yeah, my shit's all virtual because I'm poor. But I'm playing with my program, the Overloud THU, and I'm like, let me put together like a doom metal rig. What would they use? And I had just watched one of PG Guitar's rig rundowns with Matt Pike from Sleep, and he's going over his oranges. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get an orange head. I put it with a 4x4 cab, and then I put a fuzz in front of it. Holy shit! And I'm like, if I had the money, I'd be doing this for real. But it's not a bad way for younger kids who are just getting into learning how to play guitar to experiment with pedals and stuff. Then other than let me go run out and buy 200. What teenagers got 200 for this, 150 for that? So they start doing virtually. Then eventually they could build up to when I really. Oh, now I have a job and I'm putting a real rig together. I want to put this and I want to get that.
Yeah, it's just a very different fuzz sound than if you put a fuzz in front of a Fender clean amp. That's not like what they generally want out of their fuzz. But yeah, fuzz is a very cool thing. Now, your Godfather pedal, what is that? Is that a fuzz or is that just a drive, an overdrive?
Overdrive.
It is. And the Godfather 2, is it a double pedal or is it a boost version of that first pedal? Is that what that is?
It's two Godfathers in one box, with one of them being voiced slightly different. It's got a little more gain to it, a little more compression. It was created out of something that I wanted,
right,
and that nobody was making. And then, kind of as a bonus happy accident, the stacking the two channels together ended up working very well. So you actually got 3 overdrive sounds out of one pedal itself.
right. And then it'll be years before you come up with Godfather 3.
Came and went.
Oh, it's bad Godfather joke. That it would be years after.
Well, I went to that well one too many times, and about as many people who liked the movie liked the pedal.
Right.
The Godfather 3, I was one of those things where I thought I had stumbled onto something really cool. It was a Godfather plus a germanium boost with a pre-post switch. And I thought this was going to be it. People are going to go crazy over this. And it just never, I don't know if there's a curse attached to the movie or stigma or whatever. It just never took off. I actually sold off the last of them about a month ago. And of course, this means that 6 months from now, everybody's going to be going, hey, why don't you make a Godfather with a boost attached to it?
Right, exactly.
You're like, where were you 2 years ago when I was sitting on a box full of them?
I came this close to working at 7-Eleven. That's fast times.
But there's maybe 12 or 13 out of the Godfather 3s, and one guy owns 4 of them.
Wow.
He's like, I run a studio. I love this pedal. Can I get another one? I said, sure, no problem. And he's like, you got any more? I go, yeah. How many you want? He goes, I'll take 2 more. So.
Nice. Now, let me ask you this, because you have a very eclectic taste. I see sometimes when you post, it's been going on for years, but you post on Facebook music that you're listening to at the time or whatever you've stumbled upon. And a lot of the times, are you working on pedals in your head, hearing a sound that you're listening to on some of these records that maybe nobody really, well, I shouldn't say no one knows, but I will say that are definitely more secretive than general, out there?
Sometimes, the music, music's been in my life for as long as I can remember. It's always been there. My parents are only 19 years older than me. So growing up in the house, I had everything that was current. I had the Great Dead, I had Mountain, I had Jethro Tull, I had Poco, I had the Eagles, all the stuff that was current in the late 60s, early 70s, and throughout the 70s, my dad was listening to. And music's always been there. So yeah, if I post something on social media that says that this is what I'm listening to at the moment, that's God's honest truth. That's what's going on in the background. There's occasionally, I'll come across, Warren Haynes, perfect example, man. I would love to come up with a pedal that put his tone in a box.
Right.
I would love to be able to fire up a clean amp, put this pedal on, and immediately get that Warren Haynes tone.
Yeah, so pedal guys have been trying to do that for a long time.
Yeah. So to answer your question, occasionally I'll hear something, I'll go, okay, let's figure out how to make that happen. Let's get as clean, see how close we can get to that.
Yeah.
A really good example is I'm working with JD Simo right now, and he handed me a couple of recordings and said, hey, this is the sound I'm looking for. He's big on fuzz right now. And he's like, can you do this? Let's make this tone. Let's recreate this fuzz sound. So every now and then I'll hear something. I'll go, okay, yeah, let's get there. Let's figure out what's going on.
So what is Warren Haynes playing through these days? A Diaz? I remember he was playing Diaz at amplifiers for a while. Just crank the hell out of them?
Well, I don't know if he's still using the Diaz. I think he switched over to Homestead a year or two ago. And I think he's still got the Soldano SLO 100. So he's bouncing between those two. But I mean, it's just, his tone does it for me. Every single time, live, studio, whatever the case may be. I think he's got an amazing tone. He's an amazing player.
Yeah, he's great. Although he's Government Mule, right?
Yep.
Correct. Well,
The Allman Brothers.
Allman Brothers. Yeah, but I will say this: as much as I think he's a great player, and I love what he does, if I ever had to get the electric chair, I might consider Soul Shine to be the last song I ever hear. So I want them to hurry up and pull the switch. I am not a fan of Soul Shine.
Dave, don't hold back, man. Tell me how you really feel.
Yes. I'd be like, put Soul Shine on and just flick the fucking switch. Let's go, baby. Yeah, no, and it doesn't matter whether it's the Allman Brothers version or Government Mule. I hate them both the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it, but I love his playing. I love the song "The Mule" on that first record.
Yep,
great tone on that song. It's great.
And aside from being a great player and having really great tone, if you think about all the band, he's played with the Allmans for on and off for how many years. Played with the Dead for a while after Garcia passed away. He's got a solo career. Got the Government. The catalog of music that this guy has in his head and can recall at any given time.
Right. Yeah, he's played a lot of gigs for sure.
If you're going to go outside there and learn all the Allman stuff, and then you're going to turn around and learn all the Dead stuff while keeping your own stuff in your head.
Oh, do you have to learn the Dead stuff? I think you just show up. Thank you. I'm here all week, everybody. Tip your waitress.
It took me till about 2 years ago to kind of.
They're one band I can't sign on with. I love the Allman Brothers.
I'm not a huge fan of Grateful Dead band, but I can some of the stuff I can appreciate. Garcia is a great player.
Oh, he's a great player. I just don't like the songs. I honestly I like Alabama Getaway. I'll give him that.
Scarlet Begonias, St. Stephen.
Yeah.
And maybe U.S. Blues, and I think that's about where I tap out. But as definitely having
that flag.
As I've gotten
the Allman Brothers I could listen to all day, even though they're jam bandy as well. Yeah. And I wouldn't listen to the song Mountain Jam too long. That their version of Donovan's Mountain. But for the most part, I love the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, and they were definitely part of, my dad was listening, to the Allmans. I mean, Fillmore East was in the house growing up.
Yeah.
Beach was in the house growing up. So
it's a great song. It's outskirts of town.
Gonna move to the outskirts of town.
From somebody. Yeah, it's a great one.
But yeah, I had all this great music growing up, and it just kind of it's a passion that has not slowed down.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And see, you build them at home. You're building them like you have a place to build them. You ship them out, and what's next?
Oh, I don't know.
More pedals, grow it.
True enlightenment, inner peace.
Ooh,
the perfect cheeseburger. What's next? Releasing a Univibe.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Now, is it going to be with the lights, the photon, whatever the lights?
Yep, the bulb and the photo. So it is a true Univibe. We're not taking a phaser and adjusting parts to make it sound like a Univibe. This is blueprinted an original early unit that several people seem to agree is one of the best that they've ever heard. I think usually in the beginning of the year, probably for at least the last 10 years, I would go on, definitely for as long as I've been on social media, turn on and say, hey, what do you guys want to see this year? Mm-hmm. What do you want to see BMF Effects offer? Give me some feedback. And Vibe has always made, it's a toss up between Vibe and Delay every year, and one's the 1 slot and one's in the 2 slot. And it was always, it's always been there. And I said, okay, yeah, this is definitely something I want to do, but I want to make sure that I can do it right. There's a lot of vibe units out there that we'll leave it at that. There's a lot of unit vibe.
Oh yeah.
Clones out.
Yeah. I mean, I make no bones about it. I've talked about it on the show. I have a couple of the Mike Fuller ones.
Mm-hmm.
The full tone, and I don't know, they always sound better in the demos than me, but I actually just changed it and put the vibe in front of the drives because I think that's important to get the sound. You can't have it in the loop and be clean and isolated. It has to have some dirt in front of it.
Well, for me, the big thing for me was when I got a hold of that unit, once, as with anything, I'm like, once you've been to the mountaintop, where do you go from there? Once you've played the best amp that you've ever heard, what do you do then? Or you
chase the dragon.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. As going, having heard this really early version of a Univibe, going, okay, it's kind of it's too fragile to. You can't go out and really, I'm not going to say you can't. Most people don't want to go out and gig with an original Univibe, especially with the prices that they're going for now. Mm-hmm. And I've had a couple of original units, and they're all in that ballpark, but this one really stood out. And it is. You chase the dragon after that, and you go, okay, well, this pedal builder just released a Vibe. Let's go buy this one and see how this one sounds. You go, nope, that's not what I was hearing. And you just kind of keep doing that.
Right.
And I would tell people, this is something I want to do. It's got to be right. I'm not going to just slap something together and throw it out there and put my name on it.
And Richard the Falcro is asking, is it scheduled for release?
It is very soon. When will then be now? I think everybody's kind of slowly figuring out, as we're coming out of the pandemic and whatnot, and everybody's talking about supply chain issues. It's definitely a very real struggle right now.
Right.
The prototype was done, and kind of really COVID kind of facilitated it because we all went into lockdown. So what else was there to do other than go, okay, we're gonna tackle a Vibe. We've suddenly got a whole lot of time and nobody interrupting us. So I think the original anticipated release date was August, September, and it's just been a bear getting stuff. I mean, things that you wouldn't think would be an issue getting.
Right.
Dave, you and I were talking before because we know the powder coater I use. He was having trouble getting powder.
Wow.
I mean, colored powder, man, is a supply chain issue thing. So finally, everything's in. The circuit boards are in. The parts just came in the other day. I'm hopefully picking up the enclosures next week. We're gonna start knocking them out.
Nice. And, Ricky Compton wants to know if you're taking pre-orders.
Yeah, Ricky, please. On the website, there's a spot where you can email me. Definitely reach out. Tell me you want to get on the list, and I will. I'll make sure you're taken care of.
Did you already say what they're going to be called?
It is going to be called the Model 915 Vibe Unit. So if you look on the original schematics for the original unit, that was the Model 915 was the part number the product number they assigned to it. That was a tough one.
The original Shanae.
Yeah, and that was a tough one, man, because all the good names were already taken. I mean, really, there's some Vibe units out there with some really great names. So
I think there's a lot of cool Vibe pedals. Not saying that they're anything like what a Vibe is, but I think there's been some cool serendipitous things that have come out of them. Like Voodoo Labs makes that micro Vibe pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably not even a real vibe. It's probably like I said, a phaser that's been modded somehow. But thing sounds good. It's a cool pedal. I mean, it's not really what a vibe is, but it's a cool pedal in itself. It's become its own thing to me.
Now I got to ask a question.
Sure.
Can we get a special DL discount if we mention we heard about the vibe on the DL show? I'm trying for you, Ricky. I'm trying.
I think we might be able to work something up.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, it's vibes are like any vintage pedal. Nobody was sitting around speccing and matching parts back in the 60s and 70s. They were grabbing handfuls of whatever out of a bin, and it was hit or miss. This is why you got fuzz faces that sound amazing and why you got some that don't sound so amazing. The thing with mine and what I wanted to make sure that I could do is I wanted to make sure that everyone sounded the same. I didn't want you to try 5 and have each one sound slightly different. I don't. This was this was a vibe, and a couple people, the people that have played it and whatnot, said, yeah, this is something that needs to be heard. This thing moves air, which is
that's a nice thing.
Cranked up through a 100-watt Marshall. This thing's gonna make the hair on the back.
I hate to tell you, anything at that point moves air.
So it's that deep univibe sound. Like
it's more of a phase than it is that kind of on-off throb. And like I said, these things take about 45 minutes to an hour to tune each one, but they're all coming out the same.
I told you I ended up buying the full tone ones years ago, and I had to get it because I needed it for a gig, but I was trying to there was a company out in Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic that was making univibes. Anytime I ask anyone about it, nobody knows anything about it except was this guy Bjorn on the Gilmore-ish. Are you familiar with that site?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was the Moon Vibe 2 from Electric Orange. But they wanted like almost $400 for it. And that was before shipping. I was like, forget this.
And, that's kind of depending, there's a lot of work that goes in. I can't argue with that price. These things are really, really labor intensive.
Oh, this was years ago, though. And I'm talking, I bought we might be going back 7 years when I can't even remember what I paid for the Mike Fuller one. For the full tone was like $169 or something. Wasn't that much. Moon units.
No, these are pretty labor intensive.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And you make every one. Do you have anyone else working with you? Or are you making each one?
I don't have anyone working with me. What we started doing a couple of years ago is to make things easier. I started switching to surface mount, and right now the stuff that's coming out basically since 2020 is a surface mount through hole hybrid. Anything that's not tone critical, surface mount.
Nice.
And they come in as an assembly. But stuff I think that transistors, diodes, certain capacitors in places, anything that I think is going to affect or I feel affects the tone is still done through hole, and I still do that.
All right. Well, I can attest. I played many of your pedals as I managed Alva's music, and they were always great, and they always sold great. I mean, if somebody wanted a chorus, they would always walk out with a Liquid Sky.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I'd be like, "Wait, do you want to pay for that?" No, I'm just kidding. No, they would. They would. It's a great chorus, and chorus is one of those things where we have a sound in our mind when we think of chorus, and then when you go try pedals, it's that matching of that sound. And the Liquid Sky always is in that, in that zone. For me, anyway. No, you know what I mean? Because you can go pick up a chorus. I know a lot of people like the Boss chorus. there's something about it that I don't know what it is. It sounds good, but there's another sound in there. I hear like tube screamers. If I pick up an original tube screamer and plug it in, I hear yellow. To me, it yellows the sound. I don't know what that even means, but that's what it sounds like. I was just about
to ask, what the hell does that mean?
I don't know, but like if you play a Fender,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So the pisses on the sound.
No, it's like I don't know. I associate it with the color yellow. If you play a Fender and then you play a Marshall, no matter which way the sound is, the Marshall will always have this yellow, steely sound to me, whereas the Fender sounds really clear. A tube screamer in front of a Fender amp will also now add that yellowing to the sound. So there's something about, but tube screamer clones usually don't have it.
No, because you can go in there and you can adjust it to taste.
Yeah, I don't know what is in the tube screamer that does that, but I have a tube screamer that's made by Jesse Davey out in England, the Duelist,
yes,
and the Soloist. So I have one of each. I have a problem, and but seriously, but it doesn't. It has all the goodness of that Stevie Ray Vaughan tube screamer sound without that coloring that I don't like.
I should send you one of mine. See what you think.
I've never. I don't know. Which pedal was yours? That's the tube screamer.
Rocket 88.
Okay. No, I haven't heard that.
No, that's relatively new.
Do me a favor. If you send him one, just to fuck with him, paint the box of it yellow. repaint the chamber yellow.
You know what, man? I'll do it one better. I'll build it bone stock and swear to him that I changed things out.
Right.
Let's see what he hears then.
No, I'm telling you,
it's in the mail to you. You know, I always, again, a lot of. I'm always open to hearing what people want to see me do, and. You know, there was enough of a call that some people said, "Hey, we want to see your take on the tube screamer," so we'll try it. You know, the worst that could happen is we build 25, they sell, and that's the end of it, or it takes off. You know, I'm always curious to
it's funny.
Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Without my customers, I wouldn't be doing this.
Like if I go to a small club and watch a guy play. The second he goes and steps, if he steps on a tube screamer and it's an original one, I'll know in 2 seconds when he hits it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has that sound to me. You know what? I'll tell you, Ibanez pedals, almost all of them have that sound. I don't know what the hell that is. I'm thinking about it now that their chorus and phaser had that yellowing sound too.
I have the echo delay. I wonder if...
Do you know what I mean? Like if you turned a Fender up, and you get a little bit of drive in the Fender.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that sound that's really clear and true. It sounds like a clean amp, you know what I mean? But there's something about a Marshall when you turn it up. It's almost more metallic-y.
All right, I know.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean now? To me,
yeah.
I hear yellow when I hear that metallic sound, like a goldish hue over the tone.
I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
And you can hear it in the tube screamer.
Yep. It can get kind of tinny, if you will.
And some of the other Ibanez pedals as well. They have that same quality. I don't know what it is. And I have more than. Do I have any other tube screamer clones? Oh yeah, I have the Exotic Effects AC booster. I have the Rockbox Boiling Point. They were all tube screamer based pedals.
Yeah, I remember the Rockbox.
Yeah, actually, I think it was based off like a Landgraf pedal.
Yeah,
they got and they even looked like them in the beginning when they were the hand painted ones. Then they went to the green box. I love that pedal, but it's funny because they're all a little different, even though they're all tube screamer circuits. The Rockbox is way different. Oh, I also have a Jam Tube Dreamer 58. You know that Greek company, Jam pedals.
Yep.
So I was at you know Lonnie The guitar and amp show.
Yes, Lonnie Spector, yeah.
Okay, so Lonnie does a guitar and amp show here in Boston, and I go to see him. And I went to go see him to hang out, and so we did. And then he wanted me to check out this guy's room, and this guy was selling jam pedals. So I said, I'll tell you what, let me kick it around because I have so many Tube Screamer pedals as it is. Maybe I'll come pick it up. The guy says he has a store in like Plainville or something, or somewhere around Bellingham, wherever it was, Franklin, called Upfront Guitars. So I'm like, I call him a couple of weeks later. I said, yeah, I'm going to come by. It's the guy's house. They've converted the whole basement to the house into a music store. It was insane. I get the address. I get there and I'm like, I'm in a neighborhood with a house, and that thing says Upfront Guitars, walk around back, please. Anyways, I bought it.
Yeah, you're afraid you're gonna get arrested for a B&E when you go to that.
I bought it. It never has gone on my board. Oh no, it's on my board now. I don't think I've ever stepped on the pedal yet at a gig. But whatever. I digress. I have an insane pedal board. Just
you got to show it off sometime.
Yeah, two of them.
And it's changed several times. Like it's actually two different boards that make up one board, and then it's interchangeable because the drive board can then be changed with a different drive board, and then it becomes my dual rectifier Marshall crank pedal board. Otherwise, it's the Fender board if it has all the drives. But all together with the two boards, it's 23 pedals.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Actually, the pedal industry is tanked. Dave's buying all the pedals.
Yeah, right. No, I've stopped buying pedals, so now they're all in trouble. They
board
updates
on social media for a long time, but I haven't seen one.
Yeah. When I first moved to LA and I started doing session gigs, I think I had two pedals. I had a DOD Octoplus, I think it was called.
That's going.
And I had a tube screamer. And then I bought a DL4. And other than that, I've never owned pedals. And I went and did a session for a guy, and he was like, listen, you could have done a double session today, but I have this guy coming to do all these ambient sounds on this soundtrack. And I would have had you do it, but now this guy's going to do. This guy came in with a giant pedal board. I'm like, all right. So lesson learned. And then from that point on, I started getting more into the pedals and what they can do, and just for a work purpose, Johnny Kramer says my board has become a freak of nature. Yeah, it has a mind of itself. It's almost like the Trapper Keeper episode of South Park. I'm afraid I can't do that, Kyle. No South Park fans here.
I'm sorry, Dave.
I just remember the Thanksgiving episode with Martha Stewart and reverse ingestion.
The show's fantastic. I saw an ad for it one recently, and he was like, Dad, you can't have another marijuana special. He goes, it's not. It's an exclusive. I love Randy Marsh. Joe, any other questions that you have, sir?
Well, no, but I had an observation. Since you've changed the name of the show to the DL show, all we've done is talk about guitars.
No.
We had Anne-Marie Howard from the Prince of Darkness, and we pulled her husband in to talk guitars. What are you talking about?
We included him.
We even talk guitars with Santana.
No.
She exercises.
Joe's going to ask for an 8x10 glossy from Scott now.
Oh my goodness. I own two pedals and one I can't find, which is ridiculous because the thing's as big as a tank. It's a wah. It's like, where the hell did it go?
Yeah,
which wah is it?
I forget which one. It was not the normal one. You could turn the thing to get different like voicings out of it.
Oh, the Q knob.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I've had two wahs in my life. I had a snarling dog wah, which broke at a gig. And then I have one. Oh, you can't see it, but I have a the original Buddha.
They have a DOD FX 17, I think it is. 30 years old now. Still going.
Those are supposed to be pretty cool. I've never played one.
They were. It's like can double as a volume pedal as well.
Now, if they were going to do a guitar pedal time capsule, and they came up to you, Scott, and they said, which pedal of yours would you want to put in here? Like, what do you think your crowning achievement is? What would you contribute? And I want you to know the time capsule, eventually when they dig it back up, it'll fold out to be a pedal board with all the pedals on it.
It's a great question.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea for a time capsule too.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I think out of all the interviews I've done, Joe, good question, man. I'm gonna go with the Vibe.
Really? All right.
The one that's not out yet.
Yeah, I think that's.
But he has it, so he knows how good it is.
Well, yeah, he has it.
Okay, so if we take that out of the equation,
he's going to call me a fat bastard again. I know it.
Get in my belly.
The Godfather 2.
All right.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Better than the first Godfather?
I know it was you, Fredo.
Yeah, and it's not the third, so we're safe.
I don't know if I like all the De Niro parts. Never mind.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, the Godfather 2. I think I would go with that one
too.
Cool. That's a good one.
I got to tell you right now, Godfather 3 would have sold a hell of a lot more if you called it Goodfellas. Just saying.
Oh,
Here come the crickets.
It's a great argument, though. What do you think's a better movie, Godfather or Goodfellas?
I like Goodfellas. Goodfellas better.
Round the horn.
yeah, I'm gonna go with good. I think from an enjoyment point of view, I'm gonna go with Goodfellas.
Exactly.
The Godfather's just classic.
It is.
Godfather's kind of like a Lord of the Rings almost. Goodfellas is like a one and done. It's a wham bam, thank you, man. Thank you, ma'am. So, but I love them both. But I think if you just want to have a bunch of fun, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
If you want to really contemplate shit, Godfather.
Yep.
I'm a Goodfellas guy. I think Goodfellas is the fastest 2.5 hours on film. It's a great film. I can watch it every time it comes. Although I watch The Godfather every time it comes on. If I'm flicking around, Godfather's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, the same way. If I come across it, I don't know that I'll go and seek it out, but if I come across it, yeah, it'll get put on in the background.
I just like when Jimmy Kahn gets all mad and he's like, starts biting his fists.
As long as it's not the Godfather saga. Because where they put it all
and they put it in order.
When you tune into that, right, you don't know where in the hell the movie you are. It's like because you're used to it shifting back and forth.
Because your brain's trying to adjust to the regular, viewing of it.
All right, guys, round the horn. What's your favorite film score?
Ooh. Well, I gotta go with I think I gotta go with something. Well, childhood. I'm going with Superman the movie or Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. I gotta go around there.
Oh, so you're leaning heavy on John Williams.
Well, yeah, early John Williams. Right. How do you get better than that?
That Superman movie's fantastic.
Even Close Encounters, there's gold in there. Give me a John Williams greatest hits. I don't leave the house.
I'm sitting here trying to separate score from soundtrack.
Well, soundtrack would be where the songs are, but score is the actual original music associated with the film.
Close Encounters.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's
really?
That's John Williams as well.
I think I'm a lot simpler. I think I'm leaning towards Halloween.
Well,
I thought
it's so iconic to me. I hear that song and all of a sudden I can go ahead.
I was going to say Star Wars as my score, but then I was going to add the caveat. I said, well, if you're going to talk horror movies, the best one of all time is Halloween.
Yeah. Although I do love that beginning of The Shining.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
But I was thinking longevity. I'm thinking, can I put the entire album on and listen to everything? Halloween, yeah, but besides the dun, 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 what are you going to do? Listen to that for 50 fucking minutes?
Well, after that, you pick up a knife and start killing everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So instead of
I have a soft spot for the Rocky soundtrack.
Oh, there we go.
Not the
That's not
soundtrack,
bad.
the score.
That's
Bill
not
Conti.
bad. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
very
switching
good.
to Star Wars.
You're going to Star Wars.
Yeah,
Bam,
'cause
bam, 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 bam.
I'm thinking about it now, man. When it doesn't matter, because I remember when I remember when I was a kid when it came out, and I saw it 7 times in 10 days.
Oh yeah.
When that opening that opening score starts, when that movie kicks onto the screen, I still get excited.
Oh
You know, when they do that, when they do the main Star Wars theme, and they start doing that whole rolling.
What's the Star Wars theme? Is that the one that goes bam, 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 bam?
Well, that's the main.
That's part. Yeah, that's part. Yeah.
But
And is that the same one that
I mean,
goes bam, 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 da, 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 da,
Yep. That's what I like about the Star Wars is that every track, every single arrangement there is popular. You'll recognize.
What was the Superman though? Superman was fantastic.
Yeah. But you know what had great soundtrack as well? The original Star Trek TV show. That original theme was the theme. They used part of that theme for every one of the shows after.
Yeah, what was the name of that? Goldsmith, Jerry Goldsmith, I think.
Wasn't it Alexander something?
Wait, you like it better than the Lost in Space theme though?
Oh, I don't know.
Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, you have that one, and you have that.
And now you're on. We went to TV shows. Now you're hitting the TV show.
Well, you did Star Trek.
But that's but motion. You got all those movies though. All right.
Fez says they all have the same lyrics.
Hanoi Bomb says good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
Morricone had some great scores.
Oh, you know what's got a great soundtrack? The original 1978 Dawn of the Dead by Goblin. Oh, that's fucking awesome. They don't even know.
Alexander Courage was the name of the guy.
Yes, I knew Alexander something.
I just remember
another great one.
I played an arrangement.
Another great score, musical score, is the guy who became a woman.
What?
And did Clockwork Orange. What was his name?
Oh, the guy that became a woman.
That sounds like the title of a Stanley Kubrick movie.
I'm trying to remember who in it became.
He did classical. He did all.
You think of a Walter Carlos?
Yes, Wendy Carlos.
Wendy Carlos.
Yes, scored Clockwork Orange. Fantastic score.
Yeah. Oh, what is Switched on Bach?
Yeah, right, exactly. That's right.
That album blew my mind.
He was great. Yeah, but she started off as Walter Carlos, right? And then became Wendy Carlos.
Went to with Carlos. Yeah.
Before it was hip. Before it was the thing to do.
Now, let me ask a pedal question. I do actually have a pedal question. The pedal market right now and the popularity with pedals, especially on YouTube, is just it's at a high that I don't think it's ever been at before. Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think there'll be an eventual settling? Because you see videos, it's nothing but pedal. And eventually it's like, again with a pedal?
Honestly, I'm torn about it. I mean, when I started doing this in 2005. And you had a couple, you had Full Tone, you had Analog Man, you had Way Huge. Actually, Way Huge was out of the game by that point.
They got bought out eventually, didn't they? Somebody bought the name.
Dunlap. He's working.
Yeah, Dunlap. That's right.
For Dunlap now. Love Pedal was around back then.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What you saw is the DIY community has always been there. There were always guys figuring out how to build stuff, and at some point it just really took off. And what you started seeing when you started seeing pedal kits becoming more and more popular, you would see this wave of guys who realized that they could follow instructions, build stuff, do marketing to some degree, you'd see this wave of new boutique builders kind of rise up. The wave would crest, and then it would crash. Anybody who couldn't run a business, who couldn't handle money. I mean, that was the thing for the longest time, is you couldn't go on, the old Harmony Central or the Gear page without hearing about somebody who screwed over a bunch of people. Every week it was, okay, who are we going to file a class action lawsuit against now? Don't do business with this guy. He took my money 6 months ago and disappeared. I bought out, I don't know if you guys remember, there was MMFX, Morgan Miller Effects, was started before I did. I bought out his parts inventory because he just decided to pack it in. But yeah, you would see this wave would rise up, it would crest, it would crash, and the only people who were left were people who maintained their reputation. Then it would be quiet for a while, another wave would come up, whole new set of boutique builders, it would crest, it would crash. And this went on for a while. And then the wave hasn't crested yet. With that last wave hasn't crested yet.
But it sounds like what you're saying is, if you're smart, and you play the right game, you have some integrity and creativity, you'll be there. You'll be like the rocks the waves crash against, but you're not going to get washed away.
Yeah, if you maintain, I mean, for the longest time, the big thing was making sure that you had a solid reputation.
Yeah.
Make sure that you couldn't, nobody could find you on the internet that you took somebody's money and took off. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are still guys doing that. But what you're seeing now is you're getting that last wave that came up, and it was people who paid attention to what not to do. It was people who learned from the mistakes that other companies made, or because nothing travels faster than bad news. And then with the internet, the news is already out the door. But yeah, is the market saturated? Absolutely. And I'm saying this as a builder and a business owner. I had 6-7 months ago, I had this kid email me, and he's like, "What do I need to be an intern at BMF?" He's like, "What degree do I need?" And I'm like, just show up and I'd be happy with that. We were kind of going back and forth, and I guess he had reached out to a bunch of companies, and I was like one of two that got back to him. And I said, we were talking up, and I said, "Why do you want to do this?" And he said, "Well, it looks like be a really cool way to make money." And I said, if you can pick anything else for a job, for an occupation, please do. I said, this is, is there money to be made? Yeah. Are there companies making money? Absolutely. But I said, if you can go, stay in school. That's when I became my father. I got this little 17-year-old kid going, what can I want to build pedals and make money. And I'm sitting there.
That's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay in school, pay attention,
it has to be a labor of love. You can't think, well, I'm going to make money. You have to still love to do it. If you're just making enough to put food on the table and go back to work the next day and make more,
right.
That in itself is a fulfilling thing. Yeah, but if you're going to become, I'm going to be the next guy that creates the next Klon. Maybe not.
Well, the funny thing about the Klon is it's one pedal.
Yeah.
That guy made one pedal. Paul Cochran, one pedal.
Yep.
And it's become it's like mythological. All you hear about is the Klon.
I prefer the Timmy over the Klon.
And you hear the Klon clone. I don't know what either of them do. I don't know that I've ever heard an original one. So you watch all these channels go on and about the Klon. What is it?
Oh, you can find out. There are plenty of them demoed it. One actually bought a $5,000 one and demoed it.
But one channel bought two for $4,000, and I'm like, really? Is it that worth that much?
I like the Timmy. I paid $130 for it.
Timmy.
I got 3 of them.
Timmy.
But how the hell's Paul Cochran making money? He's selling Timmys for cheap.
Who
made the Zen Drive? Hermida?
Yep.
Did they make anything else?
He had a couple other pedals, and I think.
All I think is when I
think
think of that
Love
is that
Pedal actually owns the name now.
is Love Pedal still making pedals?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around forever. But I mean, to kind of get back to what Joe was saying, it's as cliched as it is. I love what I do.
Yeah, you have to.
Nobody's backing dump trucks up full of money to my front door. I love this. Absolutely love it. Out of all the jobs that I had and all the things I've done in my life, this is it, man. This is what makes me happy. Is it a pain in the ass sometimes? Absolutely.
Sure.
But you know what? I don't ever complain about having to get up and go to work.
Yeah, but that's the good thing. That's the key. That's a successful life. Now, from what you were saying earlier, when you first started, you like to take things apart. Your dad taught you how to put them together. Did you do that? I bet you did that with your toys, like your electronic toys. I want to see how my brother was like that. I want to see how this works.
Yep.
But and I was like, I would like it to work again. That was my Millennium Falcon that had the fucking light up phases and shit, Mike.
Yeah, I'm curious about how things work.
That's always good.
The minute something electronic stops working in this house, it gets disassembled. And let's see what's going on inside.
That's the key, Joe. You wait till it stops working, then you open it.
But that's good because there are so many other. You think about that with not just the pedal makers, but there are so many beautiful guitars being made now because the one guy went to his garage and said, I wonder if I can make this. Let me get some wood. And he made shitty ones until eventually, wow, look at this. This is beautiful. And other people said, hey, you made that? That's beautiful. Can you make me one?
Yeah. It's like we said at the beginning of the show. I mean, as far as being a guitar player, this is, these are great times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, as far as gear and everything, what are you playing for amps these days? What's your favorite go-to amp when you're checking out your pedals?
I use cars exclusively.
Rookie EV?
Yeah, that's it. Every BMF pedal has been voiced with a car. Either a Rambler or now Imperials.
Ryan would like that.
Yeah, I have a JTM 45 kit that I've been meaning to get to for, 4 years now. I've had a couple other amps come through, but I got turned on to the Rambler probably around 2004, 2005. And once I found out that he made the Imperial, which was just a 60-watt Rambler, I was like, I got to have one of those.
Who made the JTM 45 kit?
Beautiful looking amplifiers.
There. I have an old...
How do you feel about Marshall making the worst JTM 45 out there today?
It's a joke. I have friends at Marshall. I can't say anything.
I'm not going to keep hitting this cricket button.
It's an old. Remember when Metropolis was offering kits? Way before. Yeah, it's a.
Before we started building them.
Yeah, it's a leftover Metropolis kit, and
nice.
I've got all the Mojo parts. I've got Marstran. I got Marstran iron for it, and it's all.
I almost bought one of those Mojo Tone. What the hell was it called? A Tweed Deluxe, but it was a black. It was a blackout version of a Tweed Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
They only wanted $1,000 for it. I was like, I should have bought it at the time, but that was like, I'd still be today going, what am I going to do with it? I got a wall of pedals. None of these things see electricity.
Yeah,
I never plug in. I never plug in. I just sit and play acoustically.
Now, I got another question. See, I have some questions tonight.
Please, Joe.
Okay.
You letting me eat my protein bar. It's beautiful.
Eat your protein bar. And then after this question, I'll take a break to run to the restroom, check on Mikey. Let's say a young kid comes up to you. He knows you're making these beautiful pedals. either a young kid or maybe an old fat bastard that don't know so much about pedals. And he says, look, here's the kind of music I like. I love to play blues, rock, and metal. What would you recommend for me to learn about pedals and putting together pedal boards? What would your advice be? See, I don't know nothing about pedals. Where would I begin? And there's so much info now. Every time you turn on a YouTube, you can watch one channel, and every week the guy's telling you another pedal. You got to have this pedal. I'm like, which you said last week I had to have the other one, and the week before my mother had to buy me that one. How am I supposed to eat the jelly donut with the jelly in it? Am I supposed to suck it out and put M&Ms in there and melt it? What do I do with this? Wait, you got to make me a pedal. You got to make a pedal called the Jelly Donut. Dave, tell me that wouldn't be fucking great. What would the pedal be? I don't know, but that's a great name, the Jelly Donut. And now I'll shut up.
What would I tell them? With the internet out there, you can find out what your favorite guitar player is using. That information. I'm old enough where you used to have to go see them live to figure out what they were using.
Hold on, I'll tell them. So, Joe, what I use is I'm joking.
But I mean, there's rig talk, and Premier Guitar's got rig rundowns, and somebody's always writing about who's using what at any given time. That information's out there. Start by figuring out what your favorite player uses. Use that as your jump off point. If they don't use any pedals at all, figure out what amps he's using. And then take it from there. And go on forums. Forums I think are still a wealth of information. I think you can narrow it down a little bit more than just jumping on YouTube and hitting overdrive pedal as a search term. I work in IT. Google is your best friend. We are sitting on the greatest collected amount of information man has ever known. Let's use it for something other than porn and cat memes.
You sound like me, Scott. That's exactly what I say too about the porn.
But I mean, the information is absolutely out there. Start by figuring out what your favorite guitar player, what the band you're listening to, the band that moves you, the tone that moves you. Figure out what they're using and go from there.
Greatest consistent guitar tone of all time.
David Gilmour.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
really? You know what? I love Gilmour, but he's not there for me. I love him.
As far as consistency, I know he's had a lot of
that tone.
No, I think he's consistent. Every record sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds great. His tones have changed, definitely.
Even if he does a guest spot on somebody's album, immediately it's him.
Oh yeah, that's
a breakdown riff and echoes at Pompeii. Oh, I love that. However, for me, it's Billy Gibbons.
Yeah.
I just think you could take you could listen to Blue Jean Blues and then listen to Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers and go, that's basically sums up every rock and roll guitar player in those two tunes.
And I'm not looking at him. I'm a big fan of the Rev, but I mean his tone. You listen to stuff off of Futura. That's not the same tone that was in those first three albums.
No, but I stopped listening to them after Eliminator.
Well, yeah, that's because the record company had to go and screw up everything.
Yeah, but I mean,
those Lockmans on those.
Now you got me thinking. Most consistent tone. I would definitely put Gilmour up there.
You know what else about Pink Floyd that doesn't get enough credit is Richard Wright's harmonies on those early records, like on Echoes and Time. His voice is really paramount to those songs.
Yep. I got to tell you, man, right before the world went to hell, I was in Italy. And I went to Pompeii.
Oh, you did?
Oh, it was something else standing in that amphitheater, knowing what went down.
Did you ever put the wah in backwards like his?
Never intended. Actually, that's how I figure out if I wired something wrong. I start getting the seagull sound out of it.
That's right.
But yeah, man, I stood in the amphitheater that they recorded live at Pompeii, and it's absolutely
the panning
one
of the Pink Floyd London. That
one
that
of
would have
my
been awesome.
experiences. Yeah, it was really something else, and it was really interesting. Is that you're standing in the middle of Pompeii in this city that's centuries old, and you get to the amphitheater, and the biggest thing about that amphitheater, the thing they talk the most about, is Pink Floyd filming it there.
Wow.
There's very little about the construction and what went on, but the minute you walk through that entrance, there's to both sides of the amphitheater as it goes around, it's all the display panels on Pink Floyd, and they're talking about the film and how it was done, how the gear got loaded in, and all that stuff. I actually, when Gilmour announced he was going to go back there and do that show, I tried like hell to get over there.
Now, are you a fan of On an Island at all?
It took me a little while to get there.
I liked it.
I love it.
Yeah.
The Blue is a beautiful song.
Blue is, I mean, and that's classic Gilmour ballad. But you listen to the crunch on Take a Breath or Breath.
Yeah.
I mean, there's classic Gilmour sound all over that. And I actually, Rattle That Lock. I saw him on that tour. I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl. Because I'd figured those are, it's
Live in Gdansk is pretty awesome.
That is a great album. But I mean,
Live in Gdansk is probably the best live of him. Although I think the one with Richard Wright before he passed, what was that one? Is that the Royal Albert Hall?
Royal Albert Hall show.
Yeah, that's a great show.
It's
you can hear in some of those later ones Richard Wright's contribution vocally, because then I go back and I can hear Richard Wright where I always thought it was Gilmour's voice doubled, and it's not.
But it's tough now, man. We're in positions where we need to go see. Our heroes are dying, man.
Oh yeah.
So Gilmour says he's coming around and he's playing the Hollywood Bowl, and I haven't seen him. I'm going to go. It doesn't matter what it costs. I need to go see him because he's going to stop touring eventually.
Sure.
When I went to go see Neil Young a couple years back,
it's a great place to see a show. I love the Greek too. The Greek's a great theater.
All these guys that we grew up with are either going to stop touring altogether or unfortunately passing away.
I had a chance to see ZZ Top before Dusty died back in 2018, and I just missed that because I had another engagement. I was
So you didn't see
I finally saw Rush, what ended up ultimately being their last show ever.
Oh wow.
It was at the Forum. We knew they were we knew they were semi-retiring. We knew that Peart had health issues.
Yeah.
Life was everybody's kind of getting tired of it, and they were packing it up. And I had actually, when I went, I had no idea that it was going to be the last show before the retirement.
Right.
I figured it was the last show of the tour, and then they were going to do something else, and it ultimately ended up being their last show. Period.
Yeah. I saw them back at the Hollywood Bowl when they did. I've seen Rush a few times, but I saw them when he had the chickens, when he was cooking the chickens on the stage.
Yep.
The rotisserie chicken.
When he had the rotisserie things in the background.
And did they have a washer and dryer that tour too? Or was that a different tour?
That was either the one before or the one after.
I saw both. And then I also saw them do the Moving Pictures album over at the Gibson Amphitheater. That was a great show.
Yeah, they put on. It was an absolutely amazing show. It's one of the things I'm glad I went to go see them.
Speaking of great players, also that played with the Allman Brothers, were you a Dan Toller fan?
I think later on.
I love his solo on "I'm No Angel."
Yeah, tasty.
Yeah, but he played a lot of the late 70s.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough credit. You know, it's every now and then you hear about him and you go, "Oh, that's right."
I mean, he did everything. I think from like 75. I think he joined them in 75.
What
The Allman
right
Brothers.
after Brothers and Sisters?
Well, I think Brothers and Sisters 73, right? That's a great record with Jessica and
Pony Boy's on that.
Yeah, that's a good record.
Leave My Blues at Home is on that. What came after that?
I think Tola came in around the live album. Was that live album something like Dollar Gas? What was that one called? Clean.
You wipe the windows, check the
That's it.
tires, gas or something like that.
I think that's like the first record or the second record with Tola. That's like 76.
And I'll give anybody credit who's got to step into shoes like that, shoes that big.
Yeah.
Anybody who's got to fill that spot. You know, with the exception of Steve Vai, because when Roth hired him for his solo band, there was no concern about that.
Well, I mean, he's a different player than Eddie. And I think that Roth was okay with that. But I don't think he did Yngwie he did a great job replacing Yngwie and Alcatraz, but he definitely wasn't trying to replace Yngwie and Alcatraz.
No, see, and I was always of the opinion that Roth hired Vi as an FU to Eddie.
You think so?
I mean, that's my opinion.
I agree with that. I think Eddie's a better player.
I think Roth went out and hired the best people he possibly could. And
I remember reading an interview with David Lee Roth, and he said in the interview, he says, "You know who the fastest guitar player alive is? It's spelled VAI." Yeah. So he was playing him up quite a bit back when playing fast.
That was a great tour. That's easily in my
great band.
With Tesla,
I think they were a great band with Vi, Sheehan, Bissonette. They were great. I just don't think it had. You put that album on, you put on Van Halen, Women and Children First. I'll listen to Women and Children First.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That's just me. Like, I just think the Eddie stuff has more homage to Billy Gibbons.
But we both know, Dave, that if you give me 5150 or Eat 'em and Smile, I'm going to listen to Eat 'em and Smile. 5150.
Yeah, that's very possible. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, Joe.
Whether
you ready now?
Good.
Whether you're a Van Halen, a Van Hagar, a Van Sharon fan, whatever,
no one's a Van Sharon fan.
That original lineup, that original Van Halen lineup, that's hard to beat.
It's great. Could be the greatest American rock and roll band.
Yeah, you can argue they sold more albums with Hagar. You can say that you can argue that they gained more popularity. That original lineup, that classic Van Halen lineup.
Who do you think was the most impressive guitar player from the 80s?
Most impressive?
Yeah, of that rock, of that Steve Vai, Van Halen ilk. Because I have mine that I think is he's tremendous.
Does Yngwie belong in?
That's what I was gonna say.
How can you argue?
I mean, I wouldn't.
Yngwie's fantastic.
He changed the game. He changed.
I wouldn't
the
lump
game.
him in with Eddie and.
But the players are the same.
Yeah, I remember. I was, either freshman or sophomore in high school. First time I heard Yngwie, and a week after I heard him, every guitar player that I knew was out learning neoclassical stuff.
Right.
When did Extreme? That the late 80s?
Oh,
that's
no,
88.
Yeah, that's 80s as well. Yeah,
Betancourt. Absolutely.
I mean, he's still amazing.
Okay, for me, it would be Jeff Watson.
Night Ranger.
Yeah, I thought the stuff he played, every time he played a solo, I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's unbelievable. And it's always musical and incredible. That solo he does. Don't Tell Me You Love Me, the Jeff Watson parts, tremendous.
Now I'm trying to think of all the
Tremendous.
bands in the 80s.
You know what
Vito
it
Bratta.
reminds me of? Watson
Oh,
reminds
I was
me.
just starting to say
Who?
that. So many people don't realize that. Vito Bratta from White
Vito
Lion.
Bratta. Yep.
One of the greatest
I
ever.
love Vito.
Unbelievable.
When did Thunder and Lightning come out? Thin Lizzy.
So
The
you
guitar
can-
playing by John Sykes on that
Sykes is
song.
Amazing. Jesus.
The guitar playing on that song, Thunder and Lightning, it reminds me, Watson reminds me of that. Like, he reminds me that he's like trying to be a young John Sykes.
83.
Oh, Warren DeMartini.
I like Warren.
Warren, you don't play precise. You don't play
Precision.
precise.
Oh, holy Roth.
Not a huge Dokken fan, but George Lynch.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I like Dokken, but I don't like George Lynch.
How do you not like George Lynch but like Dokken? That's like saying I like the jelly donut but not the jelly. What the?
No, I think he is not one of my favorite players. He plays, it's not very musical to me. It's very mechanical to me. In fact,
He had his own style.
Yes.
well, I think DeMartini was a better version.
Oh, Warren DeMartini's great.
I do. I think he was a better version of George Lynch. They had similar styles.
All right, I'm gonna go
but I-
for the obscure. I'm gonna go with Fast Eddie Clark.
Oh, he was
Ooh,
good.
from Motorhead.
Motorhead.
And then Fastway.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
The singer for Fastway's playing around the LA area in that Irish band.
Still is.
what was
Flogging,
that?
Flogging Molly?
Is it Flogging Molly? Is that which band that is?
Yeah, I think it's Flogging Molly.
See what
but,
you will.
He had a girl's name.
Yeah.
His name Kelly.
you can't ask him about Fastway.
Oh yeah, his head's like like he has really tight haircut. He's like not a rocker looking dude at all anymore.
No, I was talking to somebody who said they brought up like the first Fastway album for him to autograph, and he wouldn't do it. He wants nothing to do with that, as of having been a part of that.
Oh, geez.
Right.
Let's sign the fucking album.
He was
Right.
19 when he did that. He should be very appreciative.
He always
Dave
looked like
King.
the singer for Vandenberg, who sang
Yep.
"Burning Heart."
See, that's when you got to get Italian. You sign the album or rip off your fucking hand and you sign the album. But either way, that album's getting signed.
That's
Gave
right.
him an offer he couldn't refuse.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
you
he
had,
plays clubs around LA all the time.
you had some solid guitar players come out of the 80s.
Oh, shit.
Um,
Yeah,
Most of them you
Yeah, there
could
was
still
some-
catch at Guitar Center on Saturday mornings.
I think Craig Goldie was a good player for
Craig
Jafria,
Goldie
He
good.
was great.
Yeah.
and then
I
later
love his
Dio.
work with Dio. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a lot of guitar players I didn't like in the 80s.
What did
because it
Jafria
just
come
worked
out of?
for
He
Smith.
came out of a band.
Well, I was listening to you.
Yes.
Bob.
Oh Christ, who did he play with?
Angel?
No.
Angel.
Oh, Punk.
Yeah, it was. It was Angel.
Was it on? Was it Angel?
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, what's the singer's name for Angel? The black-haired guy who's a what's his name?
I can't remember the singer. I know a guitar player.
Not
was
the singer, the
Punky-
guitar player. What was his name?
Punky Meadows.
Punky, yes. That was Jafria's band. Yeah, Punky Meadows.
God.
Don't
Oh,
ask me how I know this.
I like Vinnie Vincent until he lost his mind.
yeah.
Vinnie Vincent Invasion. I think those are two
Yep.
great albums.
My favorite Vinnie Vincent is when he played guitar for Dan Hartman. And you will shit a brick when you see this, Joe. Just go to YouTube
I'm gonna have to
and
look that one up.
type in Dan Hartman instant replay. You have G.E. Smith playing bass, Vinnie Vincent playing guitar.
And was this pre-Kiss?
Oh
Or
yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is 70s.
76.
Oh my goodness. This is wow. That's just the thumbnail's embarrassing me.
Oh, you have no idea. Let me tell you, when you watch that video, you're going to be like, Yeah, I could see him in pantsuits.
Yeah, well, one guy's wearing like a button-down vest, like he's about to go to debate club.
The great thing about Dan Hartman is, and you guys know who he is, right? Instant replay. He also did
I Can Dream About You.
Moving Sidewalks.
Yep.
Right, I Can Dream About You. But he was also the bass player and singer of the Edgar Winter Group. He wrote Free Ride and sings Free Ride.
Yep.
In the video for Free Ride, he's the only guy who looks straight. He's the only gay guy. He's the gay guy in the band.
I'm going to throw out a guitar player from the 80s. I had to look this one up, but I remember him. Ronnie LaTecra.
Yeah, from TNT.
From Loud? TNT, that's what it was, yeah.
I liked him too. He was definitely had his own style.
Oh, John Taylor says Paul Gilbert. I agree with that.
No, Paul's one of my favorites.
Paul's, I think, the greatest shredder of all time, in my opinion. But I think
the guitar player from Loudness. He was a good one too.
He's amazing.
I think Jeff Watson's playing is just every song I hear, I'm like, how the hell is he playing this part now?
Well, what I was going to say earlier is that a lot of guitar players I didn't like in the 80s, as they got older, they toned it down a little bit, and I liked them a lot better than before, like Chris and Pelletary when he came out with the album with Graham Bonnet. I mean, his shredding was like pointless. It was kind of like Yngwie clone, but it was like, it was just so fast and sloppy and stuff. You watch his stuff 20 years later, a lot more articulate. I mean, it's still neoclassical mode, but his playing improved so much. And I actually like him in that phase in the 2000s.
I love the Metal Fatigue album in the 80s.
Oh, Alan Holdsworth?
Yeah, that record's unbelievable.
Remember that? You had that whole record company race to sign the next Yngwie. You had Vinnie Moore.
Yeah,
Greg Howe. Shrapnel. Yep.
So I was in Boston in like 1990. I saw Yngwie and Vinnie Moore opened up, and Joe Stump opened up for him.
Damn.
And I'm friendly with Joe, so nothing about Joe, but the tone just wasn't happening. Vinnie Moore comes out and plays, it isn't happening. Yngwie comes out, hits one note, we just bent, and it was like, oh, thank God someone's brought their tone. And it sounded, and he
does sound great live.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing. It was like right up your face. Every note you could hear, it was clean. I don't know what was going on with that. And I never was into Vinnie Moore, and I didn't know anything by him. But when I watched him play live, I was like, it wasn't happening for me. There was a guy in Boston named John Finn back at that time, who's still around today, plays with the Boston Pops, and plays not so much the same style of music anymore, but back in that day, he was just as good as any of those guys, if not better.
I see Hanoi Bombs calling out Red Volkart. Good call.
Oh, he's a great player. I love all the country players.
Oh, 80s got the Gatton.
Gatton. You got Steve Warren, who's one of my all-time favorite chicken pickers.
Well, Sean Lane actually played on a country album. He played on the Highwaymen album. But he's not.
I drive a... What does he say in that stupid song, The Highway? I drive a... Oh, God, that song's so terrible.
Who's doing it for you guys these days? New guitar players.
New guitar players. Who?
I can't say how brand new, though, because... You know, the older you get, the less you get wowed by somebody. I mean, the last 2 times I got knocked on my ass, older, one, and I still love the guy. I fucking love Buckethead. He's phenomenal. He's in a different level of creativity that day. The man wakes up and, you know,
he's our age. He's older than us.
He is, but he gets out of the bed. Between getting out of the bed and going to the bathroom to take a piss, he's released 3 albums on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And they're great. Great. Another guy I love, that's another amazing creative genius, Devin Townsend. You know, and he's
I remember when
older.
he was singing for Vi's band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was crazy back then. He was like, you know, he tell the story about when he shit in Vi's bag. And I'm like, I can't see doing that to Steve Vai. He seems like such a nice guy. Why would you shit in his bag? But
Especially
I
since
guess
he's a vegetarian.
I don't know.
Oh, he's a vegan.
Vegan?
Vegan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know how you
I'm
can
gonna
tell
go-
when someone's vegan?
They'll tell you.
They'll tell you in the first 2 seconds. Exactly right. That's a great one.
Yeah, damn straight.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with John Notto from Dirty Honey.
I've
Oh,
heard
Dirty
the
Honey.
band
My buddy
before,
just
but-
saw them play live a few months back. Said they were fantastic. Ed Dana says Billy Strings. I really like, and I have to think of what his name is. He's a bluegrass player. He played with the Dixie Chicks. He's un-effing believable. And Billy Strings plays with them sometimes. I'm blanking on his name. It begins with a B as well, I think.
And I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, and I apologize in advance. I'm gonna say I'm guessing Nally Colt from Vintage Trouble.
I don't know who that is.
Oh,
No,
Guthrie
someone-
Govan is really good.
Well, Guthrie's
yeah.
great. He's
He's-
an amazing one.
I got a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Turn the tables for a second.
All right.
About a year and a half ago, I came across this article that said most people stop discovering new music by the age of 30. By the time they've hit 30, they are going to listen to everything that they've already listened to for the rest of their lives.
Now, hold on.
cannot-
Let's, before we stop this,
Yeah.
everyone in the panel here has been born within a year. Born between December 67 and May of 68.
September
So,
69.
You're September 69.
Yep.
So we're all within that. We're all before 1970. All right. We're all within that 2-year period.
So they say that by the time that most people hit 30, they're not going to discover new bands, decide that they suddenly like new types of music.
Yeah.
I
No.
personally cannot imagine that. The
What year
bands
was-
I've
what year-
discovered
what year did I turn 30?
So you're saying technically what I tried to say before about the older you get, they say you don't really listen. That's what I was trying to say. But what you're saying is accurate. They do say that. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
No
'Cause
way.
I'm listening to a
Slipknot
lot
came
of
out
new
in
stuff.
2000.
It's
I
more
love it.
difficult.
Yeah,
It's more difficult.
It is.
but you find things.
But it's not. I don't think it's more difficult because of the age. I think it's difficult because there's not as much coming out there that was
I
coming out
disagree.
there.
I disagree.
Oh, there's
I
plenty coming out, but it's just
Yeah,
not
I
getting
think-
promoted. You got to look for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the thing. You got to
push-
find it.
Yeah, you've got to go looking for it. It's definitely out there. There are a bunch of bands making great music. You're just not hearing about them.
Yeah.
But me personally, I couldn't imagine having stopped finding new music 22 years ago.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
about
trying to
all the
think of.
bands I've discovered in the last year.
Jeez,
Ooh.
How about this? The last 10 years, what's the best album you think has come out in the last 10 years?
Christ, I got
This is a hard one.
there's albums. That's it's. I don't think I've purchased many albums at some CDs.
No, not John Stickley. I'll tell you who it is, Ed. If you like Billy Strings, his name is what the hell's his name?
All right, so I had to Google best albums of the decade. Wow.
Brian Sutton.
Well, what are
the
they?
guitar player,
Don't keep
Ed.
it to
Brian
yourself.
Sutton.
You're not going to
Oh.
want to know. It's probably a
Yeah.
Rolling Stone list.
All right, what
Um,
was
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Joe? Have you bought it out last 10 years? So what was 10 years? What year are we in now? So after 2011. See, I could say an Anthrax album, but that band was already out, so I don't know if you'd call that new.
Okay, so this list goes from they're taking into consideration 2000 to 2019. So this list is a little old. We
It's
have
actually
the
old.
Avalanches, Beyonce, D'Angelo, Kendrick Lamar, Frank Ocean,
You're murdering my soul.
Kanye West, Yeah. Okay. We're gonna
Skim down to something interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe refine that
I'm
with rock, or the.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what's been released in the last 10 years that I can remember.
Most of the stuff I like, I pick up on YouTube. I mean, there's this Irish Celtic band that's almost like bluegrass called Runa. They do this song, The Hunter Set, that I'm a big fan of.
Are you guys familiar with Dirty Loops?
Nope.
No.
I remember the program.
Joe, Dirty Loops?
I know, I've heard of it, but I don't like. If you asked me what it was, I couldn't tell you.
Dirty Loops, they're like either Scandinavian or Swedish, but they do like pop songs and reharmonize them to jazz.
No,
they do like a version.
Yeah. Did they? Are they the ones that do like the jazz version of Paranoid?
No, they do "Baby" by Justin Bieber, but it's a bass drummer and keyboard player. But you hear them do that song, and you're like, "Are you kidding me? This is how good this song could be if you just reharmonized it." Hold on, I'll put the in the chat. I'll post the. All right, I'm putting it in the chat right now. Check that out. The level of musicianship on this, the drummer and the bass player are so tight. The guy sings his ass off. Reminds me a little of Stevie Wonder. One, her, two, never Ruffalo.
All right, so I went into my Plex and I sorted by year.
Okay.
To see what I threw back.
Jamiroquai was great in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's some solid stuff. Okay,
that was late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think when the first album came out, it was early 90s.
Early, really? Okay,
that's Emergency Planet Earth. What year was that?
I only know him from when he hit late 90s, I thought.
93.
Wow. I knew him in 98 when he had that
When You're Gonna Learn was
reality.
When You're Gonna Learn was the hit off of Emergency Planet Earth.
Wow. He's a classic band now.
Oh, they're great. Great.
Wow.
What's happening, Magic?
Ooh, Ed Dana mentions Puddle's Pity Party. I just discovered that like last week. It's this clown that just does cover tunes.
Oh, yeah. He's on YouTube.
Yeah. I know how he ended up in my feed, but it's like, that's unique.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the obscure band called Maker out of the UK.
Maker.
Aside from being some really good friends, great rock and roll band. They had a couple albums come out in the last decade. Fantastic.
I would say for me it would be Ghost Melioria.
Ghost is good. I've
got that album Melioria is fantastic.
Damn, with me is mostly singles. Wow.
Sunvolt had a couple albums come out. I'll go with them.
Who?
Sunvolt.
What's the band? Is that the guy that plays the Kaye Banshee guitars? What band is that?
Rival Sons.
Thank you. I like how you knew that right away.
Yeah, I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember that.
And because you looked at the Kaye Banshee and you thought about buying one, right?
I got a Firebird 1, man. I'm good.
Oh, you do? You got a 1 like Paul Stanley on Kiss Alive.
Yeah, but mine sounds better.
I would hope so. Actually, I think his is black. His was painted black, wasn't it? I think it's black on that album. I think it's black on that cover, yeah.
Yeah, Rival Sons. Solid albums in the last 10 years. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that Kaye Banshee. Because you can order it any way you want it, whatever pickups you want, whatever bridge. I love that whole idea. You familiar with that guitar, Joe? The Kaye Banshee?
No.
So, Rival Sons, everyone thinks he's playing. I think he even has one. He has a Gibson Firebird, but he plays these Kaye knockoff Firebirds called the Banshee. beautiful guitars. For some reason, I think he had to stop making them. I went to his site. I think he stopped showing them. Oh no, there they are. Look at this thing.
Marcus King. I've been digging him lately.
Oh yeah. That's a great looking guitar. Look at this thing. Let me see if I can post it in the chat. It's big.
Gary Clark Jr.
No, too many.
You want stuff that's come out? Band called GA20. Really into them now.
Oh, he's saying he had to change the shape.
Yeah, there's lots of good music coming out. You just gotta go looking for it.
I wouldn't say lots, because if we go look at, and I'm just going to put this out there, you're trying to find in the last 10 years, and you're coming up with some albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
1980, Joy Division had the album Closer. Talking Heads, Remain in Light. AC/DC, Back in Black. David Bowie, Scary Monsters. Bruce Springsteen, The River. Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables. Dead Kennedys, Zenyatta Mandata, The Police. Dirty Mind, Prince, Ace of Spades, Motorhead. Yeah, we're just getting started.
Queen,
Making Movies, Blizzard of Oz, British Steel, Sandinista, The Jam, Sound Effects.
You didn't have to go looking. It found you and choked you.
I'm telling you, there's pages and pages of this. I mean, and this is 1980. I haven't even gotten to Iron Maiden's first album, Devo, Freedom of Choice.
You didn't have to go looking. It woke you up, slapping you with a fish right in the face. Like, go listen to this. You know.
Okay, but the industry's changed. I mean, is it the fault of the bands or is it the fault of the industry?
Yeah, it's tough to find.
Is it the fault of the bands or is it the fault of the industry?
It's both. It's both, and I'll tell you why. Because the industry has now jammed so much bad crap out there that it takes the few bands that you're saying that put out good records, they went and did the hunting for it. Whereas before, you couldn't take a leak in the woods without hearing fucking Sweet Home Alabama being played, or some great song by Skinner or Zeppelin, or listen, you know what I mean? You were crushed with it. You know, it's nuts. Even like a channel like, I don't know if you guys listen to Sirius Satellite at all. Getting real tired of it. It plays, not only does it play a lot of the same stuff, but it's like Classic Rewind, they're playing hard rock. So I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to listen to this. And I'm listening to it doing cardio. The next thing you know, I'm doing cardio and I'm listening to Open Arms. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You know what the greatest thing in the world is, though, right now?
What?
Is that if you look in our little private chat, Scott said, be right back. But you wouldn't have known that unless you looked, because he's been frozen for 2.5 hours over there on the video.
No, I know he's frozen.
but he's not here right now.
Oh, he said, be right back?
Yeah, look in the StreamYard. He goes, be right back at 12:10. It's 12:11. So.
Where do you see that?
Look in StreamYard. We're all inside StreamYard.
In the private.
Yep. That's what I said.
Oh. Who's Dirt? Why is he telling Mitch he
No,
sucks?
but you know what the thing is?
And why did you get rid of that?
Oh, okay.
Who happened here?
I didn't even see it. I was making adjustments. I didn't see it. So
we got to block somebody? What happened?
Yeah, I don't need someone to come in and just say to somebody sucks. It's like, come on.
So what the thing is, you know who summed it up best? Still to this day, that old interview with Frank Zappa, where he said, you know, in the old days, you had these old music execs. They didn't know what was good. So it's like, yeah, sure, kid, here's some money. So you got all this, an eclectic mix of stuff and creativity. But then you got the young guys came in that started to say what was good. Now, I agree with what you're saying, because now you have the companies saying this is good, but then you have the kids coming up saying, oh, that's what I got to sound like. So they're emulating shit instead of being themselves.
Right.
And that is still to this day one of the greatest interviews and clips ever when Frank Zappa says we were better off with the old stuffy guys that didn't,
with
chomping
people
cigars
that knew nothing. Right.
that knew nothing. He said,
Yeah,
except these young hip execs came in and started saying, and he's absolutely right. And it's from the early 90s, that interview, and it's timeless. I'm telling you.
I do like them, Cheech. Yeah. I do like Queensryche. In fact, I think Rage for Order would be in my list of most listened to albums for me in the 80s.
I'll go with that. I'll back that up.
Oh, Walk in the Shadows, I Dream in Infrared, Neu Regal. I love that album.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, modern jazz, totally. And so that's kind of like what I'm saying is I pulled out 1980, and honestly, we're only dealing with rock. I haven't even talked about what came out in R&B.
Yeah.
But this is just rock. I mean, just to go back, I'm just going to name 10 albums that I haven't named before. Empty Glass, Pete Townsend, Genesis, Duke, Lightning to the Nations by Diamond Head, Blondie, Auto American, Van Halen, Women and Children First, REO Speedwagon, High Infidelity, Kate Bush, Never Forever. I mean, I can go on and on. Stevie Wonder, Hotter Than July, Bob Seger, Against the Wind, Steely Dan Gaucho, and Peter Gabriel, Melty Face. I mean, you got to be kidding me. And today, it's like we're all sitting here going, name a good record that was out in the last 10 years, and we're all sitting here, looking stuff up, going, well, we got to think of it. That was all 1980.
Yeah.
12-month period.
Yeah, because I stopped listening to radio a long time ago because they're just pushing crap.
And you're just pointing out 1 year. If you looked at 81, I'm sure you're going to find another plethora of greatness.
Yeah, every year.
I think it keeps going until the early 90s.
I would agree with that. I would agree up to Elite 95. I think things were pretty solid.
The other thing is when did the single become more important than the album?
The single, that's cyclical, but it became that again when downloading music became popular. So let's say around 98.
Yeah. When was the important track the single and the rest of the album was just fluff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say in the last 10 years, I mean, it's basically been buy a CD here and there. Usually it'd be like in one Dream Theater here and, buy some Paul Gilbert CDs, and everything else is digital. Just buy the single song. So if anything tickled my fancy in the last 10 years, I'd buy that one song.
Well, back in the day, like AC/DC comes out in 1980 with You Shook Me All Night Long. And me as a kid, I'm like, let me get the album. I had to buy the album, and I hear Hell's Bells, and I'm like thrilled to, then Shoot the Thrill. And every song was better than the next. It was fantastic. What an experience. But if it was a bad album, if I bought a bad album, I still bought the whole album because I bought the single. I wanted that song.
Yeah.
Now people go on iTunes, they can listen to a 20-second snippet of the song and go, no, I'll buy the single. I'll buy this one song.
You also notice in the 80s as well, you talk to guitar players, they were a lot less likely to say that a professional guitar player sucked because you had to say it to other guitar players' faces and other people's faces. Now you're behind a keyboard. Now guitar players are like, oh, this
I will always have said, listen, I've never made bones about it. I have never been a Santana fan. I'm not a Santana fan. What can whether I'm on the internet or in front of someone, I will tell them.
Now you're talking about the guitarist, not our guest from 2 weeks ago, right?
Right. No, of course, awful.
Really, not even the first 3 albums.
The only thing I like by Santana is around the Shango era, when he used to do Russ Ballad songs. What was on that album? Was Shango? What was the album that had Winning? I'm winning.
We go through this all the time. I can't remember the titles of
the album afterwards is Shango, and that had I've Got Nowhere to Run. The same singer, Alex Linterwood. I love him.
Same one that did.
But as a guitar player, I don't think much of Santana. I do not. I don't care for the early records. I just don't like them. I love the guitar solo he plays on Boz Scaggs. You Can Have Me Anytime. I will openly admit I think it's a beautiful guitar solo. Exactly. I'm also not a Johnny Ramone fan.
I don't think we could be friends.
You're a Santana fan?
No, how could you not like Johnny Ramone?
Oh, that's an ongoing joke. Me and Johnny Ramone had words back in about 98. He was very friendly with a buddy of mine, and we always sit around talking stuff like this. And so the question I asked Johnny Ramone was, I said, who do you think's the most influential guitar player? Eddie Van Halen? Well, who turned more people on to playing guitar and was the most influential guitar player? Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page? And Johnny Ramone said, I am.
I knew that was coming.
And I said, can we be serious? I'm asking you which one. He got mad because I said he wasn't being serious. And his girlfriend literally was like, I'll come poke your fucking eye out, you motherfucker. I mean, I'm like, I'll kill the two of you. I was getting pissed. They're screaming at me. My buddy is laughing and trying to hold him back. And I'm sitting there like, are we having a comment? Are we adults? Anyways,
it literally sounds like you kind of asked a question and ended up in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it was nuts. I'm like, I said to him, if we just take a look at common sense, you have to go by record sales alone that Jimmy Page, by proxy, has to have influenced more people to play guitar.
Oh, I definitely agree with that, because you're talking about how do you even bring up that the style was ever changing?
What about the guys down south? I don't think a lot of them were getting their inspiration from Jimmy Page as much as the country greats. Like Jerry Reed, Chet Atkins, all the younger players, your Steve Warners and stuff like that. That they all learned.
Warren is from Noblesville, Indiana.
Yeah, they all learned.
I don't know how far south that is, but
guys. They were probably more influenced to pick up guitar from the country guys. So you can't forget all the country players out there that probably picked up because of Chet Atkins. So.
I'm not forgetting them, but I don't think those numbers are as great. If you want to look at if those numbers are as great, all you have to do is look at guitars, look at album sales. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm talking about if everyone plays guitar,
album sales and getting people to play guitar, total difference.
Influenced guitar players.
Influence? Oh, yeah. Influence. Oh, okay.
Everything you hear influences you.
Did I miss something? I thought you said what got people to start playing guitar.
Well, either got people to play guitar or influenced them to play guitar. Influence their guitar playing.
Okay, influence is a totally different discussion then.
Yeah, but either way, you're still talking about a minor percentage that would take a chip away from everybody.
I love Johnny Ramone. I love the Ramones. I've never heard anyone say they picked up and learned the guitar because of Johnny Ramone.
I thought it was insane. I literally thought he was joking, and he got so mad.
You hear a ton of people that, I mean, when you want to look, if you want to look at a guy that probably doesn't get as much credit as he should.
Hold on.
You're what? You want me to stop?
James Stewart saying forget sales, but you can't forget sales because sales denotes reach. When you're discussing how many people you've reached, saying that a band has now if I said Angus Young, because Back in Black was such a huge selling record, you're going to have because of how much that sold, that reached a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, if you're going to talk about sales, talk about the Beatles.
Sure.
Yep.
Agreed.
There's a whole generation out there that picked up a guitar that we know about.
But when we ask about
saw
those
Ace
things,
Frehley and Kiss,
I was going to say, but when we ask these questions, we're usually talking about people in our age group, and I definitely think most of us were probably not huge Beatles fans when we picked up the guitar as much as we were, like he just said, Ace Frehley, or I was a Kiss and Zeppelin fan, fanatic.
Yeah, I was Hendrix. Yeah. Hendrix got me to pick it up.
I was just going to ask that. Who, if you go around the table, who was the person? What was the album? What was the song that made you say, "This is what I want to do"?
That's a good question.
The original, it's probably, I wouldn't even say embarrassing. It's weird for me. I was home from school one day. We had 2 TVs in the house. It's the early 70s. There wasn't a TV every 10 feet in your house. And I'm in my parents' bedroom watching the TV, and there's an Elvis movie on. I had never seen Elvis before in my entire life. I ran out into the living room screaming for my mother to come look at this guy. Look at this guy. She's like, "Oh, that's Elvis." And that was my introduction to rock and roll. Then I went from Elvis to Kiss. And I went from them to the Beatles and Blondie, and then to Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and the Pink Floyd, Deep Purple. And the gates opened, and all that goodness just flooded into my head and my soul.
Joe, you say Blondie. Were you an Eat to the Beat fan?
What?
Did you ever have that album, Eat to the Beat by Blondie?
I
love that
if
album.
It was, I must have. I don't remember a lot of stuff. I've drinking a lot of alcohol, Dave.
No. It was the album that opened with Dreaming.
Oh, yeah, definitely had that. Yeah.
I met you at the restaurant. Let me just say this real quick to interrupt. James Stewart, influencing somebody doesn't mean you have to like it. Everything you hear influences you. I can listen to a song that I don't like and be like, oh, okay, well, that's going to have some sway on my playing, whether I want it to or not. You know what I mean? Like, you hear and you shape your playing to what you like and what you don't like.
Hendrix made me pick it up, but the thing is, I always wanted to play guitar before that, and what influenced me was more guys like Roy Clark and Glenn Campbell, because they were on TV all the time. And I mean, Jim Stafford, it's like, and they'd have their variety shows, and Roy Clark was on the Yep.
But what was the turning? What was the pivotal moment? Who was it that, or what was it you heard that said, I'm playing guitar. If it kills me, I'm going to learn to play guitar.
Yeah, Hendrix.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love Hendrix, and as you get older, you realize that his fortes and some things he didn't do well, like not staying in tune, but it's. But he had some real magic moments.
I think it would be, for me, Heartbreaker by Zeppelin. I was in 7th grade, 1981. This kid I knew brought in Jethro Tull, the best of Jethro Tull, and Zeppelin 2. And when he put Zeppelin 2 on, I'm like, that's a great song. It was a Whole Lot of Love. Then What Is and What Should Never Be, I'm like, that's another great one. And then every song, and I'm like, I went out and got the album immediately, and I was like, oh, I got to get back and play. At that point, I had taken a few lessons before on the guitar, but I didn't have any interest in it. But once I heard Heartbreaker and Live and Love and Made, I'm like, I got to learn that. And that, I was like, I got to play that.
Honestly, it has to be the national anthem when Hendrix played it. Woodstock. That was.
How about you, Scott?
10 years after, I'm going home off the Woodstock album.
Really?
I was probably.
Alvin Lee was a great player.
Yeah, I was probably about 5 years old. That's one of my earliest musical memories. I heard I'm going home, and that was it. I didn't know what he was doing, but I know I wanted to do
it. Carrying the watermelon off stage. You remember that in the movie?
Yeah.
That was at a Gallagher concert.
Yeah, for some reason, Alvin Lee's got a big watermelon on his shoulder as he's going off stage.
Loki Files bringing up Thunder Kiss 65. Isn't that White Zombie?
Yep.
Yeah. That's a cool riff. It's an easy riff, but it's a bum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum bum.
When I was a kid, I loved Ace Frehley. Nobody played the tennis racket like I could play Ace Frehley's stuff on a tennis racket.
I did the tennis racket. I played when I had a bass and didn't have a guitar. I used to imitate air guitar on my bass.
How about this? Who's your favorite singer in Kiss? I'm serious.
Well, it'd probably have to be Gene.
I'm a huge Gene fan.
Gene had a good rock and roll voice. I mean, like the best singer, I mean, technically would be Paul Stanley in the heyday.
I don't know about maybe up until about Kiss Alive. After Kiss Alive, I could do without his voice.
Oh, you didn't like it, but technically he had a much better range than.
But did you ever hear the song Rock Bottom?
Ooh, rock bottom. Dun, 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 dun,
Right, but the whole song you've got I can't, right? You got Paul Stanley, wait a day, and then you got Rock Bottom. You got Gene kicking. Then the song's good.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I like the song. I can't wait a day. I don't care.
Oh, did I?
You're like, all right, this is all right. Then you hear Rock Bottom.
I mixed
all right,
that up with
I'm in.
Black Diamond. I wasn't a big Kiss fan.
Yeah, you are missing it up with Black Diamond, yeah.
Black Diamond.
Yeah, but when Gene comes in, there's a video of
Call
Kiss.
me Dr. Love. James is right, yeah.
There's a video of Kiss where Gene's singing "Love 'em, leave 'em," and he's tilting his head side to side, and I can't watch it without going into hysterics. It's the most. You have to think, what is Gene thinking at this moment? Is he thinking like, I am a circus act up here? It is hilarious. I got to show you the clip. It's one of my favorites.
He had that weird move. But if you noticed, the head cock side to side always went with the leg lifting up and going down.
Yes. Oh, it's the greatest.
It's like the head was on a pulley that pulled up the leg.
Oh, you got to see this video. Hold on.
Go ahead.
When he starts going in,
I know the video. I've seen him do it many times.
Oh my God! It's when he locks it. It's like a pop and lock. He almost looks like Jeffrey. What was the guy's name in Shalimar that used to dance on Soul Train, who taught Michael Jackson the moonwalk?
Spotlight dance.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. All right. I just had to find the minute. Go to the 1 minute and 10 second mark.
You don't know how to play it on StreamYard so we could all see?
I don't want to because then they'll ding me.
You'll get butchered. All right. Yeah. But put the link.
I did.
Oh,
there it is.
So there we go.
Yeah, it's like a minute and 10 seconds in.
Minute and 10.
You just watch. You watch Gene. Actually, it's a little before that. It's got to be like watch from like a minute in.
Yeah, I've got to mute this.
Watching him without the sound on is hysterical.
Yeah, because you realize what he's doing. He's absolutely hysterical.
All right, so here's one, because all our favorite bands are slowly getting older. When does it stop? Is Kiss still Kiss?
No.
How many members can you replace before it stops? Before it stops being the band and becomes a tribute band?
Well, according to Paul and Gene, never. As long as it's making money.
And I'll give them an exception because I think they're characters.
Yep.
Sure, but to me, the band ended after Unmasked, in my opinion. Well, no wonder.
He's basically, but Scott's great. Scott's asking the musical version of the Ship of Theseus. You know about the Ship of Theseus, the philosophy of the Ship of Theseus. How much wood, after they're replaced, is it still the original ship? Because they've replaced all the original wood in the ship.
Right.
So are they still the Who?
No. Who's been gone? As far as I'm concerned,
Keith Moon died.
I don't know. I think Face Dances was a good record.
They had that drummer afterwards was pretty
Keith
good.
Moon was a drummer,
but
it was Kenny. Well, Kenny Jones actually played drums on the Tommy soundtrack because they needed somebody to play with a hi-hat, and he had been in the band The Faces at the time, and so he did a lot of the sessions on the Tommy soundtrack. And then they brought him back to do it when Keith died. I do love that album, but it is less of a Who album and more of a those three. I mean, they could have called it something else. They should have. I love that album though.
Is it still the Black Crowes? Let's be recent. Is it still the Black Crowes?
Who's still in it? Robinson Brothers.
That's it.
Yeah, you know what? As long as those two are on it, I would say yeah. Because I mean, it always seemed like it's centered around those two anyway. Now, who was before Mark Ford? Mark Ford replaced someone, and they really dissed on this guy when they replaced him.
What's his name? Jeffrey Cease.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they say it couldn't play in time, and
well,
I can't reach that crickets that quick.
Okay, so there is some truth to this. I don't know how much. To the best of my knowledge, I think Paul Stacey, I want to say. No, it's somebody else cut most of the solos on the first Crows album. That much I do know.
What is it?
Somebody else cut most of the solos on the first Black Crowes album. It wasn't Jeffrey Cease.
Who plays on the Southern Harmony album?
That's Mark.
That's a great record.
Yeah.
That's their best album. Although I love Amorica. I like the one afterwards with Good Friday too. What's that one called? Three Snakes. Great one. Great album.
They've all. First time I heard By Your Side, I thought that was phenomenal.
Goodbye Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes Goodbye, whatever that song's called. Yep. Love it.
Yep. But yeah, I
love Thorn in My Pride. I love Southern Harmony. For me is the album.
But yeah, so is Kiss still Kiss?
No, not for me. I haven't listened to Kiss since Unmasked. People talk about the 80s Kiss. I'm like, I remember those songs like on the radio, but I would never buy anything.
I was fortunate enough to see Kiss in 2000 on their real farewell tour. We're all four of them. And that was after 2000. It's like, okay, I seen them in their original form. I'm all set.
What about the Stones?
I'm not a big Stones fan.
Love the Stones.
I was never a big Stones fan either.
Love them.
Yeah.
Got a few songs I like by him.
Are you a fan? Are you a fan, Scott?
Yes, absolutely.
What's your favorite album?
Exile. Anything Exile, anything within that period. So Let It Bleed, Exile.
Sticky Fingers is there.
Yeah, Sticky Fingers.
Goat's Head's on the other side.
Yep.
Yeah, my favorite is Some Girls. I love Some Girls, but I also love Sticky Fingers.
Well, what's your favorite Stones song?
Ooh.
Of all time?
For me, Ruby Tuesday.
Really, an early one.
That's
but you know why? Because I had a dog. I raised her with a baby bottle, and I named it Ruby Tuesday from the song.
It's funny because I love Street Fighting Man, but I love it for the reason of the nostalgia that when I hear it, it brings me back to my youth. Because I never really listened to it as an adult. But I would say my favorite tune, it could be Tumbling Dice. It could be.
If I got to pick one, I'm going to go with Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
Great song.
That just for that riff alone.
Great song. I also love Monkey Man.
Monkey Man. But it's, it's like picking your favorite child,
I think the Stones are a great band. Who was it that just shat on them recently? Roger Daltrey?
Oh yeah, he said
Mick Taylor.
Yeah. It was Roger Daltrey was in the news saying something bad about the Stones. He called them a bad blues club band or something like that.
Yeah, he was trying to say well, McCartney said it. It's like, come on. And Townsend used to rip on Zeppelin because he had sour grapes. Zeppelin was the great. I don't care what anybody says. Zeppelin's the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one.
I think the Beatles are a great band, but they're a great pop band. They have some great rock albums. I do love. I love Abbey Road. I mean, I love some of those songs where they started doing some more rock stuff, but they're a pop band.
So where do you
Zeppelin was?
Where do you fit Queen in there?
Oh, they're untouchable. There will never be another Queen.
And that's the thing. Queen is Queen.
Queen is great, but let's be
That's my favorite band. So
first album, good album.
Yep.
King Rat is a good song. Keep Yourself Alive.
Doing all right.
Okay. Queen 2, phenomenal.
My favorite.
Phenomenal album.
Barry Fellas.
Could be their best, arguably their best album. Arguably. However, I do think the third album is the best album, Sheer Heart Attack.
Sheer Heart Attack, which is a great album too.
Phenomenal album. After that, you still got another great album with A Night at the Opera, A Day at the Races.
News of
the World.
News of the World, my favorite.
And The Game.
The Game,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
after The Game,
that's when
they're done.
Yeah, Kind of Magic had some good songs on it.
I like Kind of Magic. I like Flash.
You like A Kind of Magic because
Yes.
you like that movie Highlander.
Yes, you're right. No, I'm not
All
going to
right.
argue with you. That was my movie. Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will never be another Queen. You can
Phenomenal band.
Now let me ask you, Richard, how do you feel about them calling it Queen when someone else is singing that isn't Freddie Mercury?
They don't call it Queen. They call it
don't.
Queen and.
What do
Queen
they
and
call it?
Paul Rogers, Queen and Adam
Oh,
Lambert.
do they?
just say
Okay.
Queen.
Yeah.
Well, that's at least decent then. I didn't know that.
Queen's a band. You know why I love Queen? And there's a few bands that are like this, but Queen's a band where you can hear the Brian May songs, you can hear the Freddie songs,
John
you can
Deacon
hear the
song.
John Deacon songs,
And Roger
and you
Taylor.
can hear Roger Taylor on drums and snakeskin trousers.
Yep.
Roger Taylor.
There you go.
And guitar sometimes.
But
Here's the thing I want to say real quick about Queen. A Day at the Races is Freddie's best album.
As
Vocally,
far
his
as-
voice is pristine on that album. It is gorgeous. I mean, it is just like, it is perfect, his voice.
Millionaire Waltz.
Oh, good old-fashioned
Showcases.
Lover Boy.
Ooh, love.
Here we go
Somebody to
again.
Love.
What is it?
Somebody to Love.
Yep.
Fantastic. I mean, just the whole
Tie
record,
Your
that's
Mother
his,
Down.
to me, that's his, like, he was at his peak. I think News of the World could have been a brilliant album, or like a flawless album, I should say, except I hated the song Sheer Heart Attack. And
I like that song.
Did you like Fight
I
from
thought-
the Inside?
Yes.
I thought Fight for the Inside I liked. My Melancholy Blues was okay, but it was just, there was something about it that
You like Who
It was-
Needs You? I didn't really like Who Needs You.
you wake
John
up past 6, you make it 7.
But
Yeah,
Spread
all
Your
right.
Wings was a John Deacon song. That was a great song.
All right. Yeah. Spread Your Wings is great. Sammy was low at the Emerald Bar. I like the Flash soundtrack.
All dead.
Get Down, Make Love.
All Dead,
is
All
it
Dead's a great tune. That's a Brian May tune.
That's fine, May.
Okay, yeah, I tap out on that one.
Oh, you don't like that one? Yeah. You know what's a great album that I don't think gets enough love is The Game. Sail Away, Sweet Sister's a great tune, and Save Me's phenomenal. Save Me could be their
Oh, the
best
solo
tune.
one, Save Me, is great. It's nice, short, but it's to the point.
Everything about that tune is great.
I Need Your Lovin' Tonight.
And The Game was produced by Reinhold Mack, who just goes by Mac. And he's produced some of my all-time favorite albums. Billy Squier, Don't Say No. He engineered a lot of the ELO records, Out of the Blue, Discovery, and he's great.
You will. I don't think you'll never find somebody who worked the stage as well as Freddie did.
You'll never find
Dude,
as long as you live.
You can't think of AM radio in the 70s without that Lou Rawls song. popping
Oh,
in.
yeah. Someone who loves you tender like I do. I'm not bragging on myself now, babe.
You
Is Joe frozen? Oh, no, he's not frozen.
Oh, I'm right here.
Billy Squier as a guitarist was good.
Great rock and roll guitar player.
I
He
thought
went
when he
all
was
over
great
the
on that.
world.
Don't Say No was entirely him, except for that solo by Carrie Sheriff.
Yeah.
And Lonely as the Night. Oh yeah,
Great song.
good tone for Billy. A Telecaster through a cranked Marshall.
Oh, it's fantastic. That whole
It's like-
record was fantastic. That
that's
drum sound
basically
on
what
the
it was.
stroke, My Kind of Lover was great. Everything on that album was great. Reinhold Mack, I love. You know how he got that gig was Billy Squire went to Brian May and said, I want you to produce my next record. And Brian May was like, get Mac. He just did the game, and it's unbelievable. And so that's how he got him, because Brian May recommended him.
And that's why
But
the
you hear
drummer, Chouinard, the drummer from Billy Squire, why he sounds
Bobby
like,
Chenard.
that's why he sounds like Dragon Attack drums, right?
Yeah,
The,
exactly. Dragon Attack sounds like the Stroke. Yeah, Deacon wrote that one. He also wrote You're My Best Friend.
Yep. Deacon wrote a lot of great songs.
Scott, are you familiar with a band called the Blue Nile?
Loosely. Yeah, I've heard of them.
The album Hats, which I have a poster for right there. That's a fantastic album.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I think it's very melancholy. It's not as rock or boisterous. Now, did you ever hear of? I'm sure you know Jellyfish from the late '80s, early '90s.
Yep.
Did you ever hear Imperial Drag, Scott?
No.
You probably have heard them. You just don't know you've heard them.
They were
They
great.
had a few songs on the radio.
A good rock band, good energy.
Zodiac Sign was on the radio.
Oh, it's a great song.
Boy or a Girl.
Imperial
Yeah, but I don't know
Drag.
if it was Imperial Drag. Yeah.
Yeah, when you hear the first three songs on the first side, you're going to recognize the songs.
I think it's a great record. You like it, don't you, Grell?
Oh, yeah. I've got it in my car.
Yeah. It's one of my
Actually, I
favorites.
got it on your recommendation a couple of years ago.
You hear that, folks?
I like Jellyfish too. I rediscovered them because you were talking about, you said, what do you think about Jellyfish? And I said, it's funny you say that. I got those cassettes out of a cutout bin like in the 90s. And I was totally into them, but they had disappeared. And I kind of lost the cassettes. And you mentioned them. After you mentioned them, I bought the CDs.
Yeah,
I said,
I love
"That's right.
Jellyfish. I think that Spilt Milk record is fantastic.
Well, Belly Button's good too.
You know what's great?
Man, I used
Spilt
to be
Milk
the first song.
You guys remember Rock City Angels?
Why does that
The
sound familiar?
name.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Deep inside my heart was the big MTV one. So the rumor, the story that I had always heard, they were Guns N' Roses before Guns N' Roses were signed. Geffen signed Rock City Angels, and the story that I had always been told is that they were paid a sizable sum of money to agree to have their release put off because Geffen wanted to back Guns N' Roses. And Geffen would turn around and then promote Rock City Angels as soon as they got Guns N' Roses out of the way. Well, we all remember what happened after Appetite for Destruction came out.
Yeah.
So Rock City Angels, their first album was Young Man's Blues. And it would have been interesting to see what would have happened had that come out first.
There was a lot of stuff that kind of went down the wayside around that time, because that was also the time when the Cult was getting big at the time, and things were starting to get a little bit more raw before the actual storm of grunge came in.
Yep.
You know? But I remember the Cult had a big album out that same year in '88.
That Sonic Temple.
Maybe-
I think it was Electric. Was it called Electric?
Well,
Let's see.
there was
Yeah,
Love
something.
was one. There was
Love
Electric.
came
There
first.
was,
Electric came after that, where they changed the sound, or they changed
Yeah.
their whole sound.
what was the one with Love Removal Machine?
That's Electric.
That's Electric. Then it was Sonic.
Yeah,
Temple.
that was it. 80. Yeah, it came out in
89.
'87, but '88 would have been the year it was big.
Oh, Sonic Temple was 88?
Wildflower.
Oh, Wildflower.
Sonic
Okay,
Temple was
Sonic
89.
Temple was 89. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, Electric was big when Guns N' Roses' first record was out. I remember Wildflower was the big song and Love Removal Machine.
Mhm.
And to me, that was like the beginning of the end of the then stuff like Warren DeMartini was doing, like Way Cool Jr. wasn't so cool.
It's one of my favorite.
What was that? Dance, dance, dance by Rat. It's like, what the hell were you guys thinking?
What's your favorite Rat song?
I don't have a problem with that.
With what, dance?
No, Way Cool Jr.
Oh,
what's your favorite Rat song?
What's your favorite Rat tune, Joe?
Oh, I love Round and Round.
No, all right, there you go. That's a little bit.
But that's the first one I ever saw. I'm watching videos, Friday night videos, and that came on. It was just mind blowing.
How about for you, Scott? Favorite Rat?
All right, Way Cool Junior's right up there.
Oh, you're kidding me!
No, but I'm a sucker for anything remotely bluesy.
Right? Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking right now.
And your direction's great, B40.
Don't insult your guest, Dave. I mean, even
though
though
it starts off with guitar going dun, 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 dun.
My favorite, I'm gonna just say, is either it's a tie for me. It's either You're in Love or Lay It Down.
I was just say
those are two. Yeah, those are also.
Lay It
For me,
Down.
it was
That
Lay
riff
It Down.
starts and it's like Hike the Football already. The song's brilliant.
Lay It Down.
Yeah.
And Wanted Man.
Wanted Man's a good
Wanted
one.
Man's good.
Yeah, down, 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 down. Body Talk.
What about
Body Talk's a good one.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That was in Golden Child.
I did like Because You're Back.
Back for
for
more.
more.
For more.
Another Milton Berle.
Well, you know what? A lot of those, you have to give as much credit to Stephen Pearcy's vocals and power on his vocals as much as the guitar.
Yep.
I like the songs. I don't give credit to a
His
guitar.
voice definitely fit the songs. Yeah.
I love that commercial from a year or two ago. Unfortunately, there's a rat problem. Every time I saw that, I was like, that's not a problem. That's not a rat problem.
Here's a question. Is Rat's best song as good as Dawkins' best song?
Well, what would you say is Rat's best song?
Well,
I think it's Lay It Down or
what would you
You're
think
in
is
Love.
Dawkins' best song?
Yeah, what would you say is Dawkins' best song? Because
I like Kiss
for me,
of Death.
I think Just Got Lucky.
Mr. Scary.
I like Kiss of Death.
Mr. Scary's good, but can you call
Scott,
it?
you're blowing me away here. I'm laughing because I now realize you're a year younger, but for the pedals and the stuff that you kind of like, a lot of the more southern guttural rock, and you're pulling out some of the most glam 80s stuff. It's killing me.
I know
love
you're
it.
going to lay it on me, but you're going to come at me. But I'm coming in with Dream Warriors, and you're going to say it's because of the movie. And I'm gonna say, yeah, well, it was both. It was the movie and it was
Next
Dawkins.
week we'll have Patricia Arquette on.
What's the
love
band?
that.
The band Steel Panther.
Yeah.
Before Steel Panther was Steel Panther, Scott, did you ever see them when they were Metal School or Metal Shop in Hollywood?
I remember seeing the flyers, yeah.
So they used to do a bit where they would be like, and they used to use a backing track. They would have like horns and backing vocals all synced to the drummer playing to a click. And they'd be like, and we want to let everybody know we don't use any assistants up here. This is all us. And then they went into the Dream Warriors, where it's like a choir of like 40 people singing it, and it's just 3 guys up there. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They're like, we don't use any backing assistants. We're the dream. And it was like a big whole choir. Unbelievable. Dream Warriors. So do you think Dream Warriors, and I'll ask, what was your favorite talking tune? Scott?
Mr. Scary.
Mr. Scary. So is Mr. Scary better than any Rat song? Every Rat song, I should say?
I'm not a big Dokken fan, and my pick for best Dokken tune is an instrumental. So
Right.
There you go.
I'm the right person to ask.
All right. So what about you, Joe? Is Dream Warriors better than every?
I love them both. I couldn't,
I think Just Got Lucky as a pop song is better than any Rat song.
Okay, you know
I
what?
just think it's a brilliant pop song.
I'll go with Alone Again. If I had to pick,
Oh, it's a great song.
Yeah,
Same album, by the way. Great song. Yeah, that's Tooth and Nail. I think that album of theirs is the best. I think.
Well,
Tooth and Nail's a great song.
I think the other what was the name of the other album? For me, it's the one that the album that Dream Warriors is on. What is it called?
Under Lock and Key.
I love that one. I mean, from beginning to end, that album is perfect for me.
And then what after that? Was
I can't describe a perfect Dokken album. I don't think any Dokken album was perfect.
Did you listen? But did you like Tooth and Nail? Tooth and Nail had some good songs.
Yeah.
Tooth and Nail's a great album.
Yeah.
Title track.
I thought Just Got Lucky's a great song, though. It's a nicely written song.
Oh, it is.
Did you ever see the interview somebody did with Dokken? And this is from maybe 10 years ago. And the guy's like, "Well, you ever noticed, Dokken, all your song titles, was it deliberate that you had 3-word song titles?" And Don's like, "Well, I don't know that we did." And then the guy's bringing up the song titles, and Don's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I never noticed it." And then he says, "Well, what's the new album you got coming out? What are some of the songs?" And as Don is telling them the song names, they're all 3 song titles, and Don Dokken is starting to fucking laugh his ass off. That interview killed me. She's like, sometimes you never notice shit until it's pointed out to you.
Yeah, Don Dokken sang scratch tracks for the Scorpions for the Blackout album because Klaus Meine had to go in and have vocal surgery and couldn't sing. And he actually thought he was going to get the gig in the Scorpions, and they ended up wiping all his vocals off all the tracks except for "You Give Me All I Need." And when you can listen to it, you can hear in the background, "You give me all I need," doing that Dokken vibrato.
All right, here you go. Best live 80s album. Best live album from the 80s.
Best live.
Live After Death.
Oh, it's a great one.
Over Worldwide Live.
Ooh, that's another great one.
That was a big one. Yeah, the Scorpions. Yeah.
I mean, both of those were basically Suburban Issue.
Also, Priest Live in '86 was a big record. However, Unleashed in the East is '79. That was a great one. Too bad that didn't make the '80s. UFO is '78. Let me think.
Well, those are the 2 ones that come to my mind. Was the Scorpions.
For me, it's Kinks One for the Road.
Is that 1980?
It's either 80 or 81.
That was recorded in Providence.
It was. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, it was on the Low Budget tour, right? Kinks One for the Road. I love that album. June 4th, 1980. Yeah. That would be my number one.
Ooh, John Taylor says Live Sentence, Alcatraz.
It's another great
good live album.
You know what another one that I love is, and I don't know, it's kind of a controversial thing. I love the Speak of the Devil that came out in '82
with Brad Gillis.
I loved Brad Gillis on those Black Sabbath songs.
Yeah, I think he put his own stamp on them without bastardizing.
It was a fresh take.
2 days or something.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got a couple days to learn all the friggin' songs.
Oh, Gillis is amazing. Amazing.
So I think that was the first really kind of combo Black Sabbath Ozzy album I had ever heard. I mean, my knowledge of Black Sabbath stuff came from Speak of the Devil. And I had always assumed and kind of got, reinforced by rumors that the reason you never heard any of the solo stuff from the first 2 Ozzy albums is because he was so torn up over Randy's death that he just wasn't going to play the solo material, and that's why he went out and did Sabbath covers. Well, about 6 months ago, I found out that some Japanese release of Speak of the Devil has an entire second CD of Brad playing Randy's the first 2 material off the first two Ozzy solo albums. And I'll tell you, man, he held his own.
I've
Yeah,
never even
great.
heard that. I got to
Right.
hear that now.
Well, I kind of knew
so-
that. I'll get the story mixed up though, but I remember there was a reason why they released. Now the album that they released, were there Sabbath tunes on that, or was there Randy tunes on that? The first
Sabbath.
It was Sabbath. There was a reason why they did that, and beyond, him being heartbroken and stuff like that, there was some sort of legality thing there that they were trying to work out, and that's why they didn't. I had heard that, but yeah, I mean the actual concerts they were playing from both, I believe.
And there's a documentary out called Hired Gun. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
I would have never considered Rudy Sarzo to be a hired gun.
Oh,
Though he ended up as the bass player in a lot of metal bands.
Yeah, I mean, he was just, but he was, there was a couple guys you call, Rudy Sarzo, Graham Bonnet. When you need somebody, these are the guys you reach out to.
Oh yeah.
Glenn Hughes.
Mm.
But it was interesting. Like, I never considered Rudy Sarzo to be a hired gun, but when they were talking to Brad Gillis during that, and he said, he had like 2 or 3 days to learn all the Ozzy solo stuff, and then to go back and listen to him do it live, absolutely held his own.
Sarzo played with Angel as well.
Yeah, Sarzo wasn't on the records though.
Oh, okay.
That's why he was the hired gun. It was Bob Daisley, and they wanted to get rid of Lee Kerslake.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, you can't get rid of Lee. And so they were like, well, then we're going to get rid of both of you. So Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley are actually on Diary of a Madman.
Yep.
But when the album came out, they said that Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge was.
Yeah.
But they weren't. It was
All right,
those guys just came in to do the tour.
We forgot a live album from the 80s.
So Over the Mountain, that's now Aldridge playing the double bass.
What did we
It's Lee
forget from the
Kerslake.
80s stuff?
That's Lee Kerslake, man.
Look it up. Look it up. Hold on. Let me see. I think they put the correction now on it. Let me just see. It would be on. What's it called? Diary of a Madman.
No Sleep Till Hammersmith, 1981.
Is that Motorhead?
Motorhead.
All right, here we go. Reception, track listing.
Yep, Lee Kerslake.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just surprised. That's about the most technical thing I heard Kerslake do.
Well, he was in what's it called for a long time.
Uriah Heep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
then they
Diary's
pulled
awesome.
in the 90s where Sharon didn't want to pay royalties to Daisley.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
So
she
they-
did that
they-
to everyone.
so they stripped their track, the bass and drum tracks out of the original recordings and had somebody else re-record them.
God.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember listening to them, going back and listening, going, something doesn't sound right.
Right.
And then
I had to
going-
learn a song a couple of weeks ago, and I said to Alexa to play it. She's playing it. I'm like, this isn't the original song. What the hell am I listening? It's like a sound alike, and it was
Remastered. They call
it was Amazon re-recorded. But check this out. This is Bob Daisley's book, For Fact's Sake.
Mhm.
And it's his accounts of all these stories with Ozzy and everything and all the bands he played in.
I didn't know he played in Chicken Shack.
Yeah. Blizzard of
Oh,
Oz.
that's got to be a
Moore.
great. That's got to be a great book.
I saw Bob Daisley play with Gary Moore at the living room in Providence.
I'll tell you right now, this thing cost me £18.99. It was expensive. It was like out of print and expensive. I bought it online. I haven't even cracked it yet, but because I watched 500 interviews with him, I'm like, do I have to read it now? I think I heard everything.
Stop Making Sense came out in the 80s.
Yeah, Talking Heads.
80. Let me see. Stop Making Sense was what, like 84?
That sounds about right.
Genesis 3 Sides Live.
That was 82, 81, 82.
No. 81 was Abacab. It has to be 82 or 83. Was Three Sides Live the one that had You Might Recall, by the way, which is my favorite Genesis song?
There's Paper Laid on too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let's see. Okay. 3 Sides Live was 82.
82, okay.
Paperlate is not on it.
It's not on it. Oh, okay. I thought that was one of the studio tunes.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
Paperlate's-
Let me guess the studio tunes. Is it You Might Recall?
Um,
It would be side 4.
I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm not seeing it on. Let's see.
I thought it was like You Might Recall, Me and Virgil. No, and Paperlate.
Yeah, I know.
And then they released it as a single album called like 3x3.
Okay, you're right.
Side 4, Paper Late, You Might Recall, Me and Virgil, Evidence of Autumn, and Open Door.
Okay.
Because the reason I'm not seeing is because I have the UK version, which does not have the full side.
Okay, North American.
You Might Recall is a fantastic song.
Live After Death. I love that one.
Oh, it's a great record.
Yeah.
That's the first time I saw Maiden was that tour.
Scream for me,
Power
Long
Slave?
Beach. Scream for me, Long Beach.
Coliseum.
Favorite Maiden
I saw it
album?
in 1985, January 14th. What is it called? Radio City Music Hall. First concert I ever went to. Queensryche was opening.
No, see, I
84? What year was it?
80, I think 85.
Oh,
I
so
saw
they
it in
were
January.
on the Warning tour.
Yeah. They were doing
Oh,
the
that's
Are
fantastic.
you talking about Ozzy?
No,
no,
Queensryche
Iron
opened
Maiden.
for Ozzy.
Iron Maiden.
Iron
Yeah,
Maiden.
Queensryche opened.
I saw Queensryche open for Ozzy in '86. That's it. I was supposed to see Metallica open up for them, but
I
Cliff-
saw Metallica open for Ozzy in 80. The only other concert I've ever been to is May
you were lucky
31st,
because when Cliff
1986.
died,
Yeah, Cliff died 5 months later.
Yep.
All right, how about this? Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave. Put them in order, best to worst.
Oh,
well,
jeez.
I like Number of the
That's
Beast as my
hard.
favorite. Then would be Peace of Mind, then Power Slave.
So in order of the year they came out, you're
Yeah.
going best to worst.
That's
Yep.
yeah. I can't put them in any kind of order like that. You're breaking my brain. You know, I'm like fucking robot.
I
right now.
see
This
you
does not
flailing over
compute.
there.
This does not compute. Shit.
I'm
You
gonna-
just collapsed me like the B9 robot. Oh shit, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Scott,
go
what about you?
Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave.
Same.
That's because Number of the Beast was the first one that somebody turned me on to.
So for
So-
me, I'm going to say Peace of Mind, Number of the Beast, Power Slave. However, I will say this caveat. Number of the Beast does not have a bad song on it. Peace of Mind has Quest for Fire. I just think the song is so... In a time when dinosaurs roam the earth. It's like I'm watching the Discovery Channel. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
It's a little weird. It's a little dated.
And then on Power Slave, there's a bad song on
Which one?
Lost for Words.
Lost for words.
It's like dinosaurish. It's just boring. It's like every song on it, Flash of the Blade, The Duelist, Power Slave, every song kicks ass. And then Lost for Words, it's like, what? Where does this fit in? I love those albums, but I just like Quest for Fire bothers me, even though I think Peace of Mind overall, I have to put it first because Revelation, Where Eagles Dare, Flight of Icarus, Die With Your Boots On, and my all-time favorite song by Iron Maiden, To Tame a Land, is on it. Still Life is on it.
Trooper.
Sun and Steel,
I
The
think,
Trooper.
I think that's got to be number one. Then I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Except Quest for Fire. It's like, what? At a time when dinosaurs roam the earth. It's like
that is a weird opening sentence. Even back when I heard it the first time, and I was the biggest Maiden fan I was like, huh?
It's like we have a claymation
Yeah, I
video
was
for
about to
this.
say, let's get Ray Harryhausen to do the video.
John by Quest for Fire. It's also all I could think of was when I heard the hook is Ray Dong Chong and Quest for Fire. I'm like, what the hell am I listening to here?
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, that brutal sex scene she had.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking of the brutal sex scene. I'm just thinking of Quest for Fire, the movie.
We used
When
to
the
call
movie
Quest
came out,
for
I'm
Sex.
10 years old. I had no interest in seeing Quest for Fire.
No.
Who else stood out for new wave of British heavy metal? Who else stood out?
I love It Don't Matter by Def Leppard off their first album, On Through the Night.
The first two Def Leppard albums, I still think are the best ones.
I think It
Well, you're
Don't Matter
thinking of
might
2 and
be
3
their
or
best
1
song
and
in
2?
their career, Joe. How do you like them apples?
Say that again.
It Don't Matter could be their best song of their career on their first album.
I think Joe
It's
meant
fair.
to say 2 and 3 because
What's
I
2
don't
and
think
3?
he's on Through the Night is their first album. Then it's High and Dry. Then it's Pyromania. Then it's Hysteria.
No, I'm talking before Pyromania.
Yeah.
On through
Yeah.
the night. And High
Oh,
and Dry.
so you were talking about On Through the Night as being one of the best.
I said I like those first two albums.
Okay,
I like
okay. A lot of times when people say the first 2 Def Leppard albums, they totally forget the On Through the Night album.
No, I like On Through the Night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For anyone that's in the chat, look up the song "It Don't Matter" by Def Leppard. You'll love it. It's a great rock.
I love
song.
that song, "Me and My Wine." I fucking
Oh,
love
it's a
that
great
song.
rec, great one.
They
Who's that?
re-released
Kiwi
it.
on guitar, right? How about you, Scott? For a new British wave of heavy metal, who do you like?
I was a big Tokyo Blade fan.
Kidding me?
No,
What the hell? Who do we have on as a guest tonight? I'm thinking we're listening to. I'm like
Leave
thinking
the guy
we're going to
alone.
be talking Allman Brothers. We're going to be talking Warren Haynes. Now all of a sudden we're into Tokyo Blade. We're going to talk about Loudness. And this guy likes more shred metal than I ever did, and I thought I was a shred guy.
I gotta think anyone who makes pedals has listened to plenty of metal. You know, not to rhyme, but
yeah,
I have that
Put the
first
metal
Tokyo
to the
Blade
pedal.
album.
he's made the pedal for the metal and he's put the metal to the pedal.
Yeah.
I have that first Tokyo Blade record. That was good.
Yeah. All right. So I'm clearly upsetting Dave.
Not at all. Just shocking me. I wouldn't say upsetting. It's
But we've gone past the 3-hour mark. This is kind of when we lose our minds. So
we have when we have.
yeah.
Favorite jazz player?
Ooh, guitar or any instrument?
No, you know what? I'll throw it open. Favorite jazz artist?
Oh God,
Bill
Jeez.
Evans.
Hey, you know what? I put him up there too. I love Coltrane. It's like beyond jazz. I was just talking with Dave the other day. My favorite song from him is Naima.
Mm-hmm.
I can listen to it. It's so somber and it's a good rainy day song. Oh wow, you're gonna kill me with this though because oh God.
I am also a huge Freddie Hubbard fan.
Yeah. I've been on this.
I've only recently, in the recent years, I've come to appreciate jazz. I could put it on and listen to it for hours, but I couldn't tell you that's by this one or that's by that one.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I've been on this bender lately. Anything off Blue Note, Impulse, Verve, all that stuff.
Oh, it's all great.
Go down the line, George Benson.
Well, him I know and like. Yeah. Him I always.
Well, he crossed over into pop too because he had a hell of a voice on top of it. Wow.
I'll go with any of the Hammond players.
Oh, okay, Jimmy Smith.
How
How about the guy that played with Danny Gatton, that young kid, Italian kid, Joey DiFrancesco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Scott, have you heard the jazz trio that does a Hammond organ player and they do Sabbath covers?
Casualties of Jazz.
Yes. It's a great record.
They're actually
That's
doing
who I
their,
was
they're working
referencing.
on
Yeah.
another album now.
Oh, they are?
They're gonna do you're not gonna like it. They're doing Grateful Dead jazz
Oh,
hands.
brother.
Yeah, casualties of jazz. Somebody turned me on to that, and I was like, "That's." And the thing is, I've never seen them, and they're out of LA.
Yeah, they're out of LA. You know what happened was the guy, God, was it Alva's or West LA, gave me the CD, came in. I think it was a guy who came into Alva's. I think it might be South Bay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe, did I turn you on to that record? I don't know anyone else that knows that album. The guy gave it to me.
I got turned on through the guys at Black Market Music. They were listening to it one day, and I said, and they was like War Pigs or Fairies Wear Boots came on, and it was Hammond jazz, and I'm going, who is this? And they're like, oh, those are local guys.
See it.
There's another one. There's a Jazz Sabbath.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
ever
the
hear
album's
that
called
band Brown
Kind of
Sabbath?
Black. What is it?
Yep.
Brown Sabbath. They do a cover of Fairy Wears Boots that they're not really jazz per se. They do have a horn section, and there's a live video of that, and I think it's just an awesome version.
I like Mac Sabbath.
Oh, with all the McDonald's characters.
Oh, it's great.
What the hell is Mac Sabbath?
They
Look
do
it up,
all
Joe.
songs about hamburgers at McDonald's, and they're all the McDonald's characters doing Sabbath
The
tunes.
Hamburglar, Ronald
Oh
McDonald.
my goodness.
Sweet Meat. Favorite Sabbath album.
Oof.
How about this? Favorites. I'll wait till he puts his ears back on. Favorite Sabbath album of the first 8 albums, which means we cannot discuss Dio Sabbath. Because otherwise-
You're lucky you went there because I did hear what you said, and I was coming at you with Born Again. Just to piss you off, I was going to come in, and I do.
You
Love
knew
Born
that
Again.
would. I know your favorite
I
anyways,
love
Mob Rules.
Again.
I knew you'd be lying because I know Mob Rules is your favorite.
No, but I do love Born Again. I actually do love that album.
And I was burning, I was hurting. I don't like
I
that
actually
one.
like Trashed on that.
Trash is a great
Oh.
song.
Love of Christ.
That song is
Hanging up
high,
on me
no,
again.
no pun intended. It's high octane, beginning to end.
All right,
Then
first
you
8
can't-
Sabbath albums. What's the best one?
Hold on, I'm looking.
The first one's iconic. Volume 4 is great. Paranoid.
Yeah.
Masters of Reality.
I
may
take
have to go with
Paranoid.
Sabbath, Bloody
I'm going to go
Sabbath.
with Paranoid.
I love Sabbath.
Paranoid's more of the most influence on me. That was like the first Sabbath album I ever really heard.
What did you say,
So-
Scott? Sabbath Bloody as well?
Paranoid.
Okay, yeah, Paranoid to me is it.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Sabotage is okay.
Not
I
bad.
hate Hole in the Sky.
I like Holding
How could you hate Hole in the Sky?
How? I know.
I just think it's like they just like turn everything up as loud as we can, and we're just gonna play. It's like it's just a wall of sound that I don't like. It's not melodic. There's something amelodic about it. It's like I'm looking through a hole in the sky. I just don't like it. And I think also on that record isn't "Am I Going Insane" on that album. People keep on looking at me. Although the thrill of it all on Sabotage is a fantastic song. I think every song on Sabbath Bloody is fantastic. I think almost every song on Volume 4. Master of Reality, I'm not a huge fan of. Paranoid, huge. First album, huge. But Paranoid gets my vote.
I can
Didn't
buy
the
that.
cocaine budget for Sabotage exceed the album budget? Wasn't that
What was it? What budget?
the cocaine budget?
Oh, probably.
Right. What I will say about Sabotage, Hole in the Sky, I think is a great song. The biggest problem with that album is the production.
Well, I think that's a problem with what was the band we were talking about earlier? I was like, oh, Kiss,
No one
Hotter
mentions-
Than Hell.
No one mentions Technical Ecstasy for good reason.
There's a song. I think it's Technical Ecstasy. Never Say Die. I think the song's called Dirty Women. At the
No,
middle
that's
of the
not-
song,
that's
it goes into a change that sounds just like, damn. what's the song that goes? You gotta believe in foolish miracles.
You can't kill rock and roll.
It's not how you play the game.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
The breakdown of I Don't Know is in this song by Sabbath called Dirty Women.
Favorite stoner rock, desert rock?
Caius.
Yeah?
Caius. They're basically the biggest.
I don't know if
I only know a little. I only know a little about Caius because I really got into Queens of the Stone Age. Rated R and Songs for the Deaf. Those 2 albums I'm fine with. Anything else in their catalog I can do without.
My top pick would be Masters of Reality.
That's right. I remember them.
Followed by Karma to Burn. And if you haven't seen it, there's a documentary called Low Desert Sound.
Yeah. There might be one I like better than Caius. It's only because I'm familiar with that genre because I backtracked and Josh Homme, or however you pronounce his name or whatever, I found out he played for them and I listened to some of that sludge and some cool stuff on that. Josh Homme, I mean, like, not technically the most gifted guitar player, but very interesting guitar player to listen to, his riffs.
Yep. Them Crooked Vultures.
Oh yeah, I have that album too with Dave Grohl and John Paul Jones. New Fang. New Fang was a catchy tune.
I don't know exactly what you would label it as, but the last week I've been listening to a lot of Monolord. Love them.
Not familiar.
I'm not either.
Probably just labeled as doom metal, but I fucking love it.
Nice. Alrighty, everybody. Listen, it's getting late, and we are going to end up calling it because
I got pedals to build.
He's got pedals. I got work.
I got to watch Joe's his vlog. Joe does a vlog every night. Scott, he does a sobriety vlog. It's very interesting. And Krellba has crickets.
I went back up to 109 subscribers.
I'm the cricket master.
Right. I went back up to 109. So
nice.
We're holding strong.
All right, Scott, listen, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We all appreciate you. We hopefully we'll get more people to check out your stuff. If you guys have questions for Scott, you can always reach him. He has you have a forum as well on Facebook, don't you?
There's a page, and we encourage audience participation. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a BMF Effects page on Facebook. Joe just posted his YouTube channel. If anyone wants to check out his YouTube channel, please do. He's only at 109. We got to get him to 200.
Nah, that's right.
Before
we finish, I got to ask the most important question of the night, Dave. Tonight's episode of The Incredible Hulk is on, right?
Hold on. Let me just check with the TV guide here. Hold on. Let me see.
I mean,
The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. It's not on tonight.
Fuck off.
In fact, hold on. Let me see if I can get a hold of Florida Evans to see her reaction.
Damn. That was my fuck.
Go on, Joe.
Scott thinks we're just crazy.
Tell him he's not going to like you when you're angry.
There you go, Mr. McGee.
Jack
Who the hell
Colvin.
played Who played him?
Jack Colvin.
Jack Colvin, yeah.
Hey, Scott, do me a favor.
Who's playing that?
That's not me.
Why'd that start playing again?
Oh.
Now, Scott,
like, who's that?
if someone comes to your house trying to sucker you out of a pedal saying they're going to put together a time capsule, they're bullshitting you. They watch the show and they're just trying to get a free pedal. So, and it wouldn't be me. You'll see me coming. It's like, why is this fat bastard walking up my driveway?
And you know what? I give it about 48 hours before somebody announces they're releasing the jelly donut.
That is, I tell you, it's a great fucking name. I don't know what it would do or what effect, but that's a great name for a pedal. It's
And then I played you ever suck the jelly out and then put in Reese's and put it in the oven to warm it? Do you ever see the movie Fatso? You ever take, I think he goes, you ever put peanut butter and jelly on a chocolate covered graham cracker with little slices of banana on top?
Gotta have to get the honey pedal.
The honey, right? The honey.
Get the honey.
Dave,
All right, everyone, listen, we had a great night tonight. If
It was a
again,
good show.
yeah, thank you. You make it a good show, Joe.
Way to go, Joe.
Mr. McGee was an ass. I hated him. All right.
Yeah.
We liked them all. Listen, go to Scott's Facebook, BMF Effects, join the group, comment, buy pedals, check out his pedals. The pedals, like I said, that I've tried, the El Jefe and the actually, I've actually played this little red compressor too that I like. All good stuff. Liquid Sky, awesome. Krell Bar can be seen this week at Caroline's in New York. I'm joking. he'll be in the audience throwing fucking eggs at whoever's up there doing stand-up, which will probably be me. All right. Anyone want to say anything before you go? Scott, you want to say some last words for everyone?
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Pleasure talking
Really
to you.
appreciate it.
Next time you join us, you could be moving. You don't have to be frozen. So
Yeah.
don't worry about
Well,
it.
this time you
can
froze.
move.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, we'll get that straightened out.
It works.
It's all right.
All right.
So good
Good
night.
night,
Unfrozen
everybody. Good
caveman
night.
lawyer.
God bless.
I'm just a caveman. A simple. Was that unfrozen caveman lawyer?
Yeah, Phil Hartman.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Where's the end credits for this show? Do I have it somewhere? Oh yeah. Here we go. All right. Hey, Scott, real quick. What do you think of the intro music to this show?
I liked it.
Yeah, that's a
Wait a second. Before I answer that, does it feature any BMF Effects products?
I don't think there's a guitar in there.
Well, then it sucks.
There you go. Exactly. Now I don't have to say who it was because
Yeah,
they're probably going to
it's-
come after me for using their music. They haven't yet, so I'm not going to say who it is. That is the Dave Levine Orchestra, everybody. Okay. with Joe Harnell on
You know
piano
what?
and Tommy Oliver conducting.
DLO. That's not bad. Not a bad name.
I like it.
DLO.
It's a strange magic. All right, everyone. Have a great night. And as always, very good.
Thank you.